Пошли. Все вместе. Какие ваши доказательства?
They want you to comply.
Cancel culture is about canceling.
Кокаином.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
This is systematic bullying that's happening.
Woke moralists. Up yours.
And they believe that they can then
Woke
shut us
moralists.
up.
F around and find out.
Up yours. Woke moralists.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stop Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stop Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
Up yours.
We'll see who cancels who.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Hey.
It's Matt, Mike, David, Lance, and Rebecca's had a makeover. She's looking a little bit different today. No, it's Matt Lieb. Welcome to the show.
Hey, second Matt is here.
We still don't know how to introduce guests, if you couldn't tell.
You're
still working
great.
on that. You know,
it's funny to contrast it with how good that intro is. That
right?
theme song and stuff. Then everyone comes on and is like, "What do we do?"
Basically, that's every week. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who's going to talk first?
We're just gonna sit here
so
awkwardly
bad
and
at
just no one's gonna say anything.
We're the worst hosts ever, and we all have our own shows. How is that?
I do this for a living.
Same, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Matt, do you want to give an
anyways, welcome
introduction
to my
yourself?
podcast.
Talk about your show, your podcast, all your amazing things. Give your links.
Yeah.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help us. We're
For
drowning
this
here.
episode, if you hear the name Matt, we're from this moment forward, we're referring to only you.
Okay,
Everyone just refer to me
Superior
as
Matt.
Binder.
Binder, yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. Nice to meet all of you. Lance, I did your stream a few weeks ago. That was a lot of fun.
Did you ever?
And I've seen each and every one of you, the rest of you, on either Twitter or YouTube. So like I've seen your faces before. And my wife is more in your world, so I know that she's been on your shows and talked to you guys too. And she says you guys are all really nice people. And
we love
I
your
believe her.
wife. Yeah.
She's
we love
mostly
your
right.
wife.
Yes.
Yeah. She's never been wrong yet, so she's correct about us too.
Yeah. My wife, for anyone who's wondering, is Francesca Fiorentini. She's much more successful than I am. I'm just mostly talk about The Wire. And then October 7th happened, and now I talk about Israel and The Wire. Not at the same time.
That's good. That's good.
You could. There's a lot of overlap there, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's some overlap there. I was going to say, there's some overlap there.
Yeah, no, a lot more recently. We're on season 5 of The Wire, and there's a reporter who's making shit up. And it just reminded me of, recent times with the New York Times and kind of reporters just kind of saying stuff and not exactly, tell the truth about it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there was
that article in the
maybe,
Intercept.
Yeah, let's talk about this because obviously, Lance, you introduced it. Why don't you set it up if you'd like? Otherwise, I can.
Oh wow, this is not a softball intro in any way, shape, or form.
All right, I'll just take it over. If you're gonna have a problem with it, buddy, I'll just do it. All right. I feel like you're gonna make a whole thing out of it.
The article is so long that it requires a Binder monologue because there's a lot of moving parts to it. It's very in depth, so I feel like this is a Binder thing. You got to
Sure.
tackle it.
So, hey, The Intercept had an article. You see? No, I mean, The Intercept was a great piece.
He's doing the voice.
They came out with a great
Get the sound
piece.
effects, David.
So the New York Times freelancer who basically wrote this piece, it was a 3-reporter piece. Geez, I forgot every single one of their names.
One of them
was
Jeffrey Gettleman.
Yeah, Jeffrey Gettleman is actually a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who basically is the new out of the 3 reporters here. He is the one who led the team here because the other 2 were freelancers who were brought on board specifically for this piece. And then the other individual who is at the center of this, it's Annette, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her name Annette Schwartz, right?
Yeah,
so
her husband's nephew, I believe, is the other one.
Right, and he sort of matters the least, but still, the fact is that the New York Times went out of their way to get these 2 freelancers, who the husband's Annette Schwartz has no reporting experience, which.
I didn't know until I read this article.
Yeah.
I was like,
on its own,
okay?
on its own, that's not an issue. I personally think anyone can do an act of journalism. If someone is somewhere and witnessed something and has a story to tell, they can be a journalist. There's no journalism license.
And I also don't think you need to go to journalism school if you're already in military intelligence. Because then you can, that's the thing. When you're in military intelligence, like school is out. You know what I mean?
I know you would go in that direction, right? But you actually
well, you can always trust military operatives in journalism. I think we all know this.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. So on its own, no big deal. Of course, the military operative thing makes it trustworthy. But this. Her inexperience combined with all the other issues, her clear biases, these
bias is a very charitable term for what she did.
Yeah, I mean, she liked a bunch of like Matt Lieb's just said, she has connections with the IDF.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
she was the tweets she liked were genocidal, literally. Like they were.
She liked very psychotic tweets. Is a great way
the
to put
tweet
it.
said that they wanted to turn Gaza into a slaughterhouse, which you can read a few different ways.
Yeah, open for interpretation.
It's open for interpretation, right. I think.
She comes from a family of meat butchers. I don't know.
Exactly. She's just trying to get good cuts.
Open up a few businesses, right? Yeah.
Just because you're in an open air prison doesn't mean you can't try Kobe beef.
Right. You're right. So she went on this podcast, in this Israeli podcast, and it's completely in Hebrew. And she was very open in this podcast, and I assume that one of 2 things happened here. One, she just didn't give a shit. She was speaking with other Israelis in Hebrew, so and we all know if you haven't previously been aware of this, but these past few months should have made you privy to it. Israel, its government, its politicians, its lawmakers, its spokespeople, they have a set of talking points for the West, the English-speaking audience, and a completely different set of talking points for the Israeli audience in Hebrew.
Yeah.
They often don't sound alike at all.
Yeah, if you hear anything in Hebrew, like press conferences or anything, if you're listening to it in English, just disregard literally everything they say in it, because whatever they're saying is just meant to appeal to a very specific type of American, just kind of either liberal, kind of like hard D Democrat, or a neoconservative or conservative. If you hear it in Hebrew, get the translation, because you're going to hear the wildest shit you've ever fucking heard in your life. Just casual genocidal language.
Right.
Yeah.
The audience for the English language stuff is John Fetterman post-stroke. So just let you all know where they're all going with this.
Yeah.
So she went on this podcast and she was very open on this report that the New York Times published. You might recall it came out, I believe it was in December, right? It was this big report that basically the angle, I don't know if anyone wants to pull up the headline for me while I break it down basically, but the angle, the crux of this report is that this is the definitive proof that systemic rape and sexual assault was perpetuated by Hamas on October 7th.
I should just one little asterisk here, by the way. The term systemic is really, really important because, like, it's not as if there is no claims or people aren't agreeing that there wasn't horrifying atrocities committed on October 7th. You know, I know a lot of people tried to be like, well, this is discount everything. No, there's enough real horrifying atrocities that have occurred that you did not need to go to this extent to try and insinuate that there were things like literal babies being pulled out of the open wounds of pregnant mothers as they, like, you know, ripped them out and then beheaded them and then beheaded the mothers afterwards. Like, that part didn't need to be added, which is why the whole idea that there was a planned systemic rape being done, that was part of warfare is what's key, right? And that's a very big distinction.
Right. And obviously the difference, for people who don't quite get it, is that the exacerbated explanations of what exactly was done basically manufactures consent for Israel to do what it's been doing.
Hi, Rebecca.
There's a huge difference between, an attack where people die, people get killed, and then an attack in which people brutally behead, rape, do all put babies in ovens like we heard early on. There is a difference. I mean, yes, the end result is people die, but what you can get away with in your retaliation is dependent on what you have the public believe what happened to you to begin with. And
at least that's the goal.
Right, right. And so she's on this podcast talking about this piece that she was pretty much the main person behind. They put that Pulitzer Prize winning New York Times reporter with her basically to add, credence, like influence to it. And she's basically admitting on this podcast that they called a bunch of clinics, professionals in, sexual assault, rape counseling, things like that. And no one who works in this professionally could attest to a single person being raped on October 7th.
Not one, not a single account.
Not one, not a single place. So she basically says on this podcast that she needed to go out and find, because she couldn't believe it.
After the New York Times pressured her and had to convince her to write this story, by the way, just to kind of give that added context.
Right, right. And so what she ends up admitting to further in the podcast is that pretty much almost every account, if not every, I don't want to say exactly every because I don't recall every detail, but the majority, again, if not all, of the reporting she did is from secondary sources. Like, it's not like she found a bunch of witnesses. First of all, there is not a single person who came forward who they themselves was raped or sexually assaulted on October 7th. That individual, if they exist, has yet to come forward and is not quoted in this New York Times piece. So right then and there, the idea that you have the definitive proof this happened out the window.
Yeah,
again, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying it didn't happen. We don't know.
The Hezbollah
but they're
around,
claiming that it. Yeah, they're claiming that it 100% happened, and it's in this report. Yet they haven't spoken to a single person that this happened to.
And I don't know if you guys remember, but when that was pointed out, when the article first came out, the Hezbollah around that was the reason that no one has come forward is because they are all dead. Every single person that was raped was then also killed, which is one of those things where, I mean, you have to understand that the entire premise, this whole thing, is poison pilled from the start. This is something that was put out there because to question it is just not accepted. It's just it's something that like no one wants to go through the fucking rigmarole of being the guy who's going to be like, I would like some evidence. Like you're going to get attacked for that, and they knew that. It was the same thing with the 40 beheaded babies, where they were like, "What you want to quibble about? You know how many babies were beheaded? Like no one wants to be that guy." So to even talk about it was to put you into an impossible position, which is, I think, the difference between a journalist and someone like Nat Schwartz. Like Nat Schwartz is a propagandist, and a journalist is someone who's like, I'm going to find out the facts of the matter. And I think that is more apparent now than ever.
Right, and I gotta address this in the chat here. So I don't know which chat this is in, but Absoluteless says, "Yup, people who are raped are famous for always coming forward." See, here's the thing. I get what you're saying there, of course. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but if you do not have a individual coming forward to say that this happened with, you know, proof, and again, if you're speaking to someone who had it happen to them, that's the proof. They don't need to show you anything. But you don't have that, then you don't have a fucking story. Right. As a reporter, you can't go by feelings or, oh, no one's coming forward, but I know this happened. That's not how journalism works. You don't have the definitive report that this happened if you do not have any of these details. They don't even have any proof this happened to the people who were killed because they refused to do the proper rape kits on people who were killed on October 7th, period. They just don't want to do the work. They just won't prove to anyone that this happened. This is stuff that this is like bare minimum. Right. This isn't like, oh, I'm a rape apologist or anything. No, this is bare minimum. If you're a reporter and you are saying this happened, you need to have this bare minimum. And they don't have it. They just don't have it. Again,
it's not a story of a single incident that happened. You know, there's a difference between saying like someone was raped on October 7th by a Hamas militant and saying that they're using rape systematically as a weapon of war. Like that's such a major claim that you do have to have some evidence of that. And that evidence has to be something that you put into the article. And to claim, like Jeffrey Gettleman did at this like panel he did with like Hillary Clinton and some other ghouls, like, no, I'm a journalist. We don't really do evidence. You know, we are. He said something along the lines of like, evidence is not, you know, the point. I wish I had the exact quote in front of me, but it was something where he basically admitted that like evidence, like what is evidence exactly? And if you're going to make that claim, you have to have it. You have to have evidence. And also to say like, oh, not everyone, you know, comes forward and whatnot. Like if the claim is a mass rape campaign happened, the fact is that you have to somehow back that up with something, or else you are just putting something out there. And I think that was kind of the point.
During Me Too, reporters published plenty of articles where they spoke to an individual who was making the claim of their first-hand account that something happened to them, and it could be anonymous. They didn't have to come forward and make their name public, but the reporter was able to corroborate that this did indeed happen to this anonymous individual, whom they're able to confirm they know who it is because they spoke with them. This person who wrote this New York Times piece couldn't even find someone to anonymously come forward and say that this happened to this anonymous person.
No, they even claimed that it happened to. They claimed that it happened to one person whose family then went public and said, "We told them what happened to our, I believe it was their daughter, but rape was not the thing that happened." They insinuated that, or if they may have even explicitly said it. So they even made up claims of rape, or at least one claim of rape was made up in that article. Period.
They have that family you're talking about. They have text messages from their, like I believe, like you said, their daughter, as this is going down
Yes.
with the time code there, as she's sending them the messages, and they said the time in which she's sending messages and the time that she is killed, there is simply not enough time for the things that this New York Times report claims happened to her could have happened.
Yeah. You got to take a broad view of this. The reason behind all of this stuff is more important than anything else, because again, like in order to talk about this at all is to put yourself in a position where you sound like someone who is a rape apologist or a rape denialist.
But that's the point. That's why they do it. Because if you try to actually get to the bottom or get to the truth of it, that's exactly how you sound. You sound like one of those, but that's what I'm saying. I would never make the claim that this did not happen. Because we don't know. I'll believe it, but you can't definitively say this happened systemically. Because it's just, there's not proof of that. If you were to show me, like, if she was to come out and say, I've heard from a bunch of anonymous people who said this happened to them, you know what? Who am I to say that she didn't? But she doesn't even have that. She doesn't even have that.
I feel like there's no greater admission or nothing puts this more in context as to why they did this. Not just, the mass rape allegations, but also the beheaded babies. Nothing puts that more into context. If you want to understand it, look at a tweet that Annette Schwartz liked on October 9th. It's all in Hebrew. And it was translated as, "Our goal is to establish a narrative according to which Hamas is ISIS. This is a familiar contemporary sentiment that scares Westerners and not an organization of freedom fighters, and it has no contribution to free Palestine." You can write Nazis, but unfortunately it's a word that has lost meaning from it being used not only in Israel. So let's all stick like parrots to Hamas is ISIS. That is a tweet that she liked. And I think that is the goal. The goal there was we need to frame Hamas as not, we need to get rid of any narrative that they have that they're in some way oppressed or come from an oppressed people. We need to make them look like old school fucking anti-Arab racist caricatures. They're chopping off heads, they're killing babies, they're raping white women. And I think that is perfectly clear as to what they were trying to do as they were, leaking these stories bit by bit in the lead up to the war and during the war.
And these types of stories, they're necessary for
for
propaganda purposes as well. This is manufacturing consent. I mean,
100%.
You could go back to the 90s, and then there was that testimony of the girl saying that she saw the babies taken out of incubators. There's, even when we were trying to coup Venezuela, there was this talk of, oh my God, they're eating rats on the street. These are meant to elicit a visceral reaction from people so that way they consent to militarism, right? And they think, okay, you know what? If we're going to be really just go balls to the wall here and genocide Palestinians, then we have to cultivate support for it. And if the people can think that we're going up against barbarians, then they'll be okay with an equally proportionate response. So that's the goal. It's to get them to think these are not regular people like you and I. Like, these are savages. They're raping indiscriminately. They're doing all this. So it's a propagandistic tool. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Which one? I'm kidding. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Bender.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Matt, well, I'm going to reference Matt Lieb now. Matt, you mentioned earlier there was, who are you quoting when you said they were just basically coming up with something, like they were just...
the Hamas is ISIS thing?
Yeah.
That is...
was that one of the tweets she liked?
That was a tweet liked by Annette Schwartz on October 9th, so 2 days after...
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if you were talking about what I was about to bring up. Because in this Intercept piece, they bring up how Schwartz in that podcast then goes on to say that she had, to source for this article, she spoke with this ultra-Orthodox organization called Zaka. Zaka. And you might remember them early on because they were the ones coming out as like the source for a lot of the firsthand accounts of what had happened in these various kibbutzes on October 7th. And it's since come out in this that basically they described their work. This is in the Intercept piece. The senior Zaka official said that this is how they did their work. Now, they're not trained forensic scientists or crime scene experts, the Intercept says.
Right.
And this is them quoting the senior Zaka official. When we go into a house, we use our imagination. The bodies were telling us what happened. That's what happened. They have no expertise in this.
Yeah,
They
which is
went
important when your job is being literally a first responder. That's like that's what Zaka is. So every time you see them, like CNN or any mainstream media say, according to first responders, know that they were quoting Zaka, and also that they're pretty open about how they do Hezbollah for a greater purpose, and that purpose is the mass exploitation and murder of Palestinians in this case.
To what you were talking about, Binder, when you were talking about how people are trying to frame this as like apologetics. I think the advocacy here is that this should be investigated. It's the same thing with what is the statistic in the UK? Like 1 in 100 rape cases actually goes to a trial and sees like a charge or conviction in the UK. It's because these things aren't being investigated. They should be. The same thing applies to so many other things that are happening in that region, where typically outside investigations where journalists are not allowed to see or even enter the area until like long after something has taken place. Like that's what I think everyone is calling for. That yes, you should look into this and find out what happened. And yes, of course there was atrocities that occurred on October 7th. No one's denying that. Why add the exaggerated ones to almost like discount the actual horrors and atrocities that did happen to civilians when you're saying like 40 beheaded babies were slaughtered and this and that? Like, you are cartoonishly downplaying what actually happened, and for the purposes of obviously trying to justify all the fucked up shit you're doing later.
Right. No, absolutely. I'm not saying it didn't happen. In fact, I would believe that it could have possibly happened.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, if you are a reporter at literally the paper of record, the most influential publication on the planet, what you put in your paper is the official written history of that event in the New York Times.
Yeah. That's why I don't
If
read
you're going to
them
say
anymore.
that this is the definitive,
Yeah.
and you have nothing, then you failed. You
Yeah.
failed.
If you want to read a good paper, Epoch Times, they got all
They're
the
great.
they got all the facts, man. You know
what? On Twitter, all they do is they created like dozens of accounts that they signed up to the creator monetization program.
Fuck yeah.
And they just constantly post like animal videos in the replies of viral tweets, so they would get that like Twitter ad revenue.
Yeah.
So you know what? If that's all
because
they're
they're
gonna
smart.
do, then you know what? Right.
Because they're smart.
Then they have done less damage than the New York Times.
You could argue that. It's worth noting like that we would never have discovered any of this if there wasn't if there wasn't the Intercept, if there wasn't other publications out there that are actually trying to do real investigative reporting. It really showcases just how flawed, I guess, that's a nice way to put it, but places like the New York Times are, where they're unwilling to question largely held or long held beliefs that of course this makes total sense to us because this is the kind of shit we've been reporting forever. So as long as it doesn't buck what they're normally reporting, it seems they're unlikely to really look into this kind of reporting as long as it continues a narrative that they've already been pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it's the Intercept is amazing because it exists. It has been able to keep its credibility while doing stories that are real, which I know sounds like a low bar, but because you look at the media outlets, the independent media outlets that were talking about this first, like Mondoweiss or like Electronic Intifada, these have been attacked constantly by Israel pro-Israel lobby groups for years, and so people just go, oh, well, they're just a bunch of cranks. And luckily, The Intercept exists in order to bolster the work that people at those publications, among others,
and they got rid of Glenn Greenwald. So it's kind of like how Vice got better after Gavin McInnes. So too did The Intercept.
Well, Vice no longer exists in the way they did, unfortunately.
They should have brought Gavin back.
Bad week for that example.
Saved it.
Yeah.
Bad timing.
Yeah, I was gonna say
just
The Intercept
just
also
like Vice,
did...
which just completely closed down altogether. It got better after Gavin McInnes.
Yeah, The Intercept. We referenced this last week, but they did a report on the overall reporting. They looked at over 1,000 articles from the New York Times, the Washington Post.
That's right.
And they found that overall, the language between reporting on Palestinian deaths and Israeli deaths was very, very different. There was a very big pro-Israel bias. For Israeli deaths, they use more emotive terms like slaughter, whereas with Palestinians, they use words like kill. Even describing minors.
Did you see the one today with the people who died who were trying to get food, starving like people like slaughtered, and CNN was like what civilians killed in what is it like
chaotic scene? Is that what it was?
Chaos unfolds or something. Yeah, Jon Stewart called them out for that. Actually,
yeah, even
so
Jon Stewart called it.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous.
Well,
chaotic
when Palestinians,
incident. It was a chaotic incident. That was the exact terminology.
Okay.
Chaotic incident.
When Palestinians die, it's just like a kerfuffle.
Yeah,
it's spontaneous. There's
it's
no
a
event.
Yeah. It's just like, oh no, what?
Yeah.
Anyways,
there's no cause. Completely spurious. Yeah, it's dehumanizing. But I mean, it's not like we needed these reports to confirm it. Especially with regard to the bias thing, but it's nice to just kind of see them quantify it because it makes you feel less crazy, because you spot these things, you realize the differences in tone and language, and to see them actually confirm that this is indeed the case. Yeah, it's. I mean, the New York Times. I think it was Matt Leck who said that this is their worst blunder since the whole Iraq War bullshit, with
Judith Miller. Yeah.
Miller. I was going to say Woodruff.
It's still up, though. The story is still up, isn't it? Like
they're standing behind it. They're defending her.
Right.
They're saying the only thing she did wrong was like those tweets. Everything else is fine. They stand by the reporter.
Well, listen, we've all been on podcasts where we've said, we've done a voice, so we've done an accent we shouldn't have done, we've, said some words that we thought were okay, like, genociding Palestinians is fine. Look at them die, lol. Like anyone can take that out of context. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But what did she say before she admitted to the fact that nobody has actually claimed rape and that they had to find it through secondhand sources? Like, what happened on the other end of that?
She probably said, "This is what I would say if I weren't a credible journalist." We had no evidence for our article. That's the context.
Yeah.
The thing too, though, is like the sourcing here in this report is from witnesses who were at like the music festival on October 7th, for example, who have spoken to Israeli state media, who've spoken to the IDF and have videotaped their things to put out there, and in every interview they give, their story changes. Something new is added. Something that they previously mentioned is completely a huge thing, like not like some side story. A huge part of their story is completely omitted in another. Like their stories change all over the place, and then. On top of that, she didn't even go, the woman behind the New York Times article, Annette Schwartz, she didn't even meet with all of them and get quotes from them on her own to put in the New York Times. She is sourcing their accounts in other outlets.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what you do if you are claiming you have the definitive proof. Like, when I read this piece when it came out, I was like waiting for to come across, like you run in your opening, like in your nut graph, in your opening line, exactly everything you got.
Yeah.
Like you put forward right away exactly what you found out. And then you get more into detail as the piece goes on. And I'm reading through it and I'm like, there's not a single person, and they're claiming like the headline, the angling of it is like, this is it. We've got we've got the scoop. Yeah. And it's nothing I hadn't heard from people making claims online and sharing stories there.
Yeah, they didn't even bury the lead. They just implied that a lead existed. You know, it's like it wasn't in there somewhere. You just waited the whole time, and you're like, wait, there's no first-hand account of it. And then, you know, again, it's all a rhetorical trap. You know, to be like, hey, this seems fake. You know, that is the purpose of this story. The purpose of it is to discredit anybody.
Babies. Who's on the other side of that? Who's on the beheading babies team? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember when
they're beheading babies apologists.
I remember when that came out, and I was seeing people, you know, look into it, and I was looking into it myself.
Yeah.
And it felt. You would read it and be like, this is what am I? I'm talking about how beheaded like you feel dirty almost,
right.
But it's like, but this is the truth. It didn't. Like, and then you find out that there weren't even 40 babies even there to kill to begin with. Like they just didn't. Like it's not even just they weren't beheaded. There weren't 40 babies killed.
Yeah,
like it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, it was like you could argue, and I'm sure someone already is or will be arguing that, like, listen, it was right after it happened. It was the fog of war. People were saying stuff, blah, 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 blah. But that all is a useless argument when you consider that literally the president repeated this lie.
Right.
Like, and this was the purpose of it.
It was a POV. It's like, I can't believe I saw, you know, the
yes.
first
He didn't just say it.
You didn't.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so that argument, you know, it was like, oh, people, you know, it's just fog away. Like that doesn't hold water because the entire purpose of this was to get the fucking president to say shit like that. And he even said he saw it, which is a big lie. And then we go, oh, well, he's old. You know, he has a stutter. So sometimes he just says.
That's why he lied.
Sometimes he just makes up entire
sometimes
scenarios.
when you stutter, you see beheaded babies in your head.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
part of it.
you know what is so frustrating about all of this too is like this keeps happening. Like it takes me back to the whole first hospital incident where they claimed that it wasn't Israel, it was Islamic Jihad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all these people came out and they denounced anyone who dared to speculate that this was Israel. For a variety of reasons, right? And now, after they've bombed multiple hospitals, I think like 20 now, is that the number? I've lost count. All those people, not a peep from them. It's just
They told the story so many times. They were justifying the costumes. That was the other thing I couldn't believe. I was like, no. These are war crimes. The reason we don't prohibit this is so that like doctors don't get hurt as people shoot them, thinking they could be enemy soldiers. So it's really bad to let people dress up as doctors, nurses, and the disabled. This is a war crime. And like, well, no, it was like a strategic assassination. Like they had to get. There was some really bad people, and they just had to do that. And like, well, I constantly feel like I'm losing my mind and playing catch up to liberals justifying everything. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. Like I would like to think maybe if Trump was in power, they'd call out some of these things, like they'd see it for what it is. But for the most part, it's just like, how can you justify this? These, again, war crimes every day, more war crimes today, war crimes. You know, just like war crimes every single day.
I think you're right, Lance. I've been thinking about this lately too. I think that the only way to get liberals to be against this is if Trump was the one that was doing it. And it's not like we don't have evidence to this. It's not like we're being overly uncharitable because they were very outraged. I think rightfully so. By kids in cages, you know, that elicited a very strong
the liberals were the strongest allies. This is horrifying. How could we? But then the cages became plastic and they're see-through now, and it's nice. And the families can be in the cages together with their, you know, in prison still, but they're with the kids, so they're, you know,
we never heard a peep from them again. And then we got this. I don't know if you want to switch subjects, but I really wanted to bring this up because this is where we're at now. So Biden invites Trump to work together to lobby Congress on an immigration bill as both candidates visit.
Oh my fucking God!
Wait, is that a graphic on the wall, or did they actually put it the country of America on the wall? Did you see that graphic? did they put like a plaque, like just in case you want to know what America looks like? You'll never get in here.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, okay. It was an infographic. Okay. They actually put the silhouette of America.
Yeah, so this just to show you how bad Biden is at politics, I want to read a couple of paragraphs here because it's just the way that he is debasing himself is astonishing to me. But let me just read a couple. So Both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump visited the southern border Thursday in a dramatic split-screen moment as the 2024 presidential campaign ramps up over an issue that has confounded administrations of both parties for decades: immigration. Biden's briefing from border officials here began just moments after Trump began his remarks in Eagle Pass. Biden thanked border agents and said he would get them more resources come hell or high water. It's long time past, he said, adding that border control desperately needs more resources. Biden made a direct appeal to Trump, asking him to join him in telling Congress to pass the bill, which was tanked after Trump rallied his allies in Congress against it. Quote, "You know, and I know it's the toughest, most efficient, most effective border security bill this country's ever seen," Biden said. "So instead of playing politics with the issue, why don't we just get together and get it done?" Biden touted the bipartisan bill. Let me skip this. So he goes on to do that, and then guess what Trump does? He tells him to go fuck himself.
Yeah, he says "fuck you."
course.
Like that was the whole point.
Of course, it's so easy. I'm surprised
Trump's
he didn't call him a pedophile or something. Like,
Trump's national press secretary hit back at Biden's appeal. Instead of shifting blame on everyone but himself, Joe Biden should take responsibility for the border crisis, deaths, and destruction that his policies have caused. I mean, so there you have it. Biden literally teed up this attack for Trump.
He saw it as the worst part is that was the point of it. He thinks that it makes him look good when he's like, "Oh, I'm offering us to both go, go halvesies, splitsies on the cages," and he won't even do it. And he thinks that people like that people go like, "See, that's a great thing about Biden.
My president.
He's willing to, have someone piss right in his mouth, and who is this for?"
That's what I can't fathom. It's like, okay, does he think that there's going to be a Trump supporter that's like, you know what? Biden is talking a lot of sense about this border. I think I'm going to vote for it. They think you have an open border. They think that you are literally bringing in immigrants for the election to vote for you.
Yes.
You're not going to win them over, man.
I don't know how many times they've tried this. I used to think it was, this is on purpose, right? Of course, they don't think Republicans are going to vote for them because they never do. But they keep putting out this strategy. Back in 2016, they argued, "Oh, for every progressive we lose, we'll pick up a moderate Republican." And, they're still doing that shit after being proven wrong again. Biden only won in 2020 because young people came out to vote. Marginalized communities came out to vote.
Because there was a fucking pandemic and people were early voting and
it was largely an anti-Trump vote.
Yeah, and Trump was like, "Don't do that. That's George Soros voting," or whatever. If he hadn't said that shit, and if he had fucking just been like, "Yeah, fucking everyone mail in your ballots," I don't know if Biden would have been fucking president. It's crazy. So I have to put my baby inside of a bath. But that sounded weirder than I could have. I have to give my baby a bath.
Literally.
But thank you guys for having me on. And if anyone out there is in the Sacramento area, March 17th, 7 p.m. Francesca Fiorentini, my wife, and I are going to be at the Sacramento Punchline, co-headlining. So if you guys want to do that.
Awesome.
And also I have a podcast about Israel called Bad Hasbara. It's the world's most moral podcast, if you guys like that. All right. I love you guys.
Thank you so much for coming on.
You gotta come back.
I'd love to. I'd love to come back anytime. All right. Bye. What if I just stayed? No, I'm just kidding.
That would actually be awesome. He's funny.
All right. I didn't know he was so quick.
Yeah.
That was great, though.
Yeah.
I miss him. I miss him already.
Yeah, great guest.
Did you guys see the election in Michigan? What were your thoughts on that? I'm so curious. The uncommitted vote supposed to get 10,000 ended up getting over 100,000.
I was blown away personally.
Yeah.
It was great to see, honestly. I wasn't expecting them to break 100K. And they did.
No. Yeah.
I know people were like, "Oh, they purposely said they only thought they would get 10K and to keep expectations low to begin with." I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did do that. I'm sure they did say 10K instead of 20 or 25K.
Yeah, I think at most they got 20.
Yeah, I don't think they thought they were gonna break 100K.
Yeah.
And also, again, you had people come out to vote for uncommitted. It's basically the most like, you often say people go out to vote for somebody, right? But they didn't to do that. You got over 100,000 people to go out just to vote in a way that voices their disapproval of what the president is doing. That's not easy. That's not, you can't even get 100K people out there to vote for an actual person that they supposedly believe in and support and want to be the next whatever it is they're voting for. Like that's
I think it
crazy.
A good measure for how successful it was, and typically this is a good measure for this kind of thing, is does a place like Morning Joe or CNN, are they are they finding ways to be able to downplay it, or are even they surprised and actually discussing this issue and actually discussing it seriously? Like Morning Joe, he was even like, yeah, this is something that Biden has to worry about. And CNN discussed this in depth. He brought Mehdi Hassan on, I think, yesterday to discuss it as well. So they recognize that this is a serious issue, and 100,000 people, man, like that's you are really
like the percentage. The percentage does not matter. It was never about the percentage that it got. People were like, it didn't even hit 15%. That doesn't matter. It was the raw number that mattered, because the point of this uncommitted vote was to say, hey, you won Michigan in 2020 by just a couple, like 100,000, I think it was 150,000.
155,000, they beat it. And Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton by 10,477 votes, I think. I looked it up the other day.
So
10,477.
So basically, for Joe Biden, if he doesn't do anything, he has to hope that he has enough turnout. Like if he's just writing those 110,000 plus uncommitted voters off completely, he's got to hope that everyone who turned out in 2020 turns out. Donald Trump did not gain anyone, which, as the incumbent president that Biden is, there's certainly going to be people who cross back over. That's just how some people vote. Some people, they're unhappy with how things currently are, so they just vote for the other guy. No matter what the politics are, that's just how some people are. It's a general election. The entire country's voting. Most people don't pay attention to politics the way we do on this show. They're unhappy with their current status. They blame the current president and vote for the other guy. So he's got to hope that none of this stuff happens. He gets all of his same turnout, which is not going to happen. And that only then everything will be fine if he's going to write all these people off.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead, David.
I was going to say, I think before October 7th, he was having problems in Michigan, and like it was already too close. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. He really has to turn it around, drastically change policy towards Israel to get a lot of those people back. I think a lot of them he's already lost, because a lot of people have family there, right? They lost family there. Like, for them to go out and vote for Biden, even if you want to try and argue with them or try to explain what Trump would be like, these people lost family. Like, you can't, there's no changing that. So it's just, he lost a lot of people already. It's going to be a serious fight there, and as I said, already was a fight, I think, before this even happened.
I mean, he's also made it clear to the Muslim and Arab American community that he just doesn't view them as, at the very least, an important voting bloc, and that's at the very least. At the very most, he doesn't even view them as equal humans to other people that he cares about. Like that's the thing too. Like he it's not even just like he's been like empathetic and put stuck between a rock and a hard place, but put on the show to let Muslim Americans and Arab Americans know that he cares and he's doing what he can. There hasn't even been that. He just doesn't fucking care. He has shown them no empathy, has denied even the number of deaths there, has just made up lies about what has happened. He just does not even give a shit. And it's honestly one of the most depressing things I've ever seen a president do, honestly, seriously.
Right.
Like,
could you imagine if Donald Trump wins? Like, and especially with all that talk, it's like, we have to stop fascism. He's a fascist, Project 2025. He's quoting Mein Kampf. Like, this is really bad. But if you did that to support a far right government, like that was your choice. Like if it comes down to, because of how Michigan is flexing now, you won't get those 16 electoral college votes. You need those. Like your pathway mathematically becomes almost impossible unless you like have some other method that we don't know about from the last election, that you're going to flip a whole bunch more electoral college seats. So if that's the case, if this is the pathway, that's your choice then, Libs. You get one of two things. You can't have both, right? You can't both support Israel and stop Donald Trump. You got to choose one of those two things. What's more important to you right now?
And really, Michigan is a test for other states too, right? Because it's not the only state with like a large Arab and Muslim population. Arizona also has that as well. But there's also more backlash that's building. Because Colorado, now there's an organization to get them to vote uncommitted. The largest union in Washington state, they endorsed uncommitted. So this is building. It's getting bigger, and it's a problem that's not going away. And there was a Politico article that came out before the election where Biden's administration was apparently freaking out about this uncommitted vote. And now the response, and I have a video about the response from the Biden administration tomorrow, but basically his national campaign co-chair, Mitch Landrieu, he is taking this as a messaging problem and not a genocide problem, because the response that they gave to listen to Michigan was that, and I'm paraphrasing, you could watch my video tomorrow, they basically have to be more effective in communicating that Trump is going to do a Muslim ban. And that's how they can convince these people to vote for Joe Biden.
So it's so cooked. They're so cooked if they do that.
It's just, it feels hopeless. And by the way, so the ceasefire that he was talking about in the ice cream shop, which the optics of that, as Palestinians are starving because of a genocide he's supporting.
Creepy. Seth Meyers smiling beside him like a ghoul, just I'm like, oh my god.
If they're gonna do that, the Biden campaign or Biden White House should have been smart enough to not let press in there. Like if you're gonna go shoot some video, then do that. But that was ridiculous.
Well, I was gonna say that the ice cream ceasefire promise is now off the table as well, because he said today after the flower massacre that it's going to kind of make it more difficult to do negotiations. Of course, it makes sense. Nobody really expected him to follow through on that. Even Mehdi Hassan was saying on CNN, I have my doubts. Gazans were saying we have our doubts, because Netanyahu was already saying, he was throwing cold water on the situation, saying, look, we're doing the ground invasion in Rafah. It's inevitable at this point. A ceasefire will just delay it.
All experts have said it's going to be a slaughterhouse.
A slaughter. And now Biden's administration is worried about a ground invasion in Lebanon coming. So it's spiraling. The backlash is spiraling, and he just refuses. Like that inertia, he won't change course. And so I think Mehdi Hassan really put it best. He said that Biden is basically choosing to sacrifice democracy for Netanyahu. That's what he's choosing. And it's so frustrating because he has months to reverse course. And even if you reverse course right now, did a 180, it's still going to be difficult. I think you're not going to win back everyone in Michigan and young people, but you can still try. The fact that he's not even trying with months ahead tells us that he's just like the dude. He's checked out, it's just so ridiculous to me.
Yeah. And the best way to really frame this is something that Lance was hitting on was, if you support sending money and weapons to Israel, if you support the Biden position, the current Democrat position, then you are helping Trump. They keep trying to claim that people, the vote uncommitted, they're trying to help Trump. No, clearly they are not. They are trying to send Biden a warning that you are going to lose this election if you don't change course. You can't have if you support the current policy in Israel, you are helping Trump, because that is clearly what we are seeing in states like Michigan.
Yeah.
I hate that. The voter shaming does not win you elections either. That strategy of being like, oh, well, come on. They do it towards LGBTQ plus people being like, oh, don't you know that you're going to get, you always talk about how dangerous it is. Did you not care? They do it towards Muslims and Arab Americans too. Just oh, they'll export you. You're going to have to get kicked out of the country if you don't try and stop them. Right. And it's the message should not be towards me. It should be towards the president of the fucking United States right now. This is the person who can change the course of history right now. Does he want to defeat Trump? Is it your priority? Because I'm on board. I don't want to see Trump come to power. Right.
I don't either. I mean, look, I live in a blue state, so I would be insulated from a lot. But the fact remains that a lot of people would suffer under a Trump administration, and the damage that he would do, assuming we survive another Trump term and we still have a democracy after that, it would be irreparable. I mean, how much more Supreme Court justices would he get? How many more federal justices would he be able to appoint? So the fact that they, on one hand, the Biden administration and Democrats can stress democracy, but then do fuck all to actually try to save our democracy. It is so frustrating to me. And the fact that liberals
Benjamin
are just
Netanyahu.
this
of
fascist.
all reasons, for
It's
a genocide,
so
a genocide. I mean, you can't wrap your head around this.
No, it's completely like we're gonna look back at this moment, I think 10 years from now, and be just shocked if we survive, right? Because it's just there's no explanation for it. Like we can try to, articulate why this is wrong and try to rationalize his decision making, weigh the pros and the cons and the incentives. It's just fucking stupid. It's just you can't explain. Like this is just the worst politics I've seen. Like I said that Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign where she didn't even go to the Rust Belt, that was like the worst campaign ever, because she not only told leftists to go fuck themselves after a really heated primary, like she didn't even try to win back the Rust Belt. And her whole goal, as Chuck Schumer put it, was, you lose some leftists, you pick up some moderates, right? And she lost. This campaign makes Hillary Clinton look like a fucking strategic genius. Like that campaign is a million times better than Biden's campaign right now. And if you look at the polls in these swing states, he is losing. David did a great job in his video with Michigan. Every single poll, you were going through it, David, like +2, +5 for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you
ever
see
since
that,
October 30th, every poll has been for Trump.
That's I mean, listen, it is true. If we really want to be like bury our heads in the sand, it is true that Biden has been overperforming the polls and Trump has been underperforming the polls. Having said that,
a lot can change in 7 months.
A lot can change,
right? Yes,
but do we really want to roll the dice? Like Democrats emphasize to us how horrifying a Trump term would be, but if you try to say anything about Biden, how he needs to change course, they attack you for it. They don't acknowledge that there's a difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. They don't realize that us saying, hey, there's a cliff right there and we're headed straight towards it at 100 miles per hour, and just saying, hey, fuck Biden, like this is like things have changed, and they've got to realize that people are engaged. Like the people
it's 70% of Democratic voters, right? They want a ceasefire. They don't support this, and the majority of Americans as well, and his staffers, like independents too. This like the world, by the way, not just Americans, Canadians too, overwhelmingly are polling. Like this is the first time where people defining this as genocide is almost at 50% polling. That's like a massive change. There is a completely different paradigm now. They're ignoring this at their peril. Honestly, it's like it's so infuriating.
And he can't gaslight his way out of this. And that's what I think he's trying to do, right? He's definitely trying to at least now placate people who want a ceasefire, which is why he talked about the ceasefire in the ice cream shop. And, I'm trying to have Israel sign this letter that says we promise not to do war crimes with the weapons that you give us. Like he's trying to get us to think that he cares, but the problem is that these are not your average voters.
The other thing, right?
Right.
Like he's saying that he's going to like prohibit extremist settlers, but just extremist ones.
Just extremist ones.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. But these voters are too savvy. You're not going to lie to them. You're not going to placate them. They're very clear on what they want. They want the genocide to end right now. And if Biden literally is as powerless as he says, then he could prove it. Cut off the weapons, allow a vote to go through on the UN Security Council. And if they keep going without your consent, then you've done all that you can do. But he hasn't done that. There's not been a policy change. There's just all these stories that he leaks to the press about how he's saying, man, this guy is such an asshole. And I've vocalized my concerns. I can't believe Bibi. But you're not changing the policy. And that's the thing that he doesn't get. Like he thinks that this is 1994, where you could just say one thing and then there's no way to verify it. But we can actually see now, people are savvy. They're very closely following the story. They see that you are not going to make a change because you haven't changed the policy. So rhetoric is one thing, policy is a different thing, and he hasn't changed the policy, hence why they're not supporting him. So it's so frustrating to me to see this because the choice is his. He can still turn things around, but he doesn't want to, and it's so frustrating. No. And I hate.
He's a proud Zionist. He says it out loud. Like in that interview with Seth Meyers, he's like, "What is it? I am a Zionist, and not a single Jewish person would feel safe if Israel did not exist." And that is such a fucked up thing to say when you've got the largest Jewish population on the planet in the country that you're the commander of chief in. But again. Yeah.
It's just insulting. So Jewish people here, they're not safe under you as the president. And the other things they've said to debase themselves. Ro Khanna was questioning Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin today and saying, I don't know who said this, but somebody had said in the U.S. government, one of the Biden administration officials, maybe the chat can help me out, that Israel goes further to protect civilians than the United States military does. Now, listen, we had a drone program, murderous, okay, murderous. And when it didn't murder, it terrorized people in Pakistan, in Yemen, in Somalia. But even the U.S. military, as bad as they are, I think that they take more precautions than the IDF does. Even actual people like in the U.S. military have said, when it came to the Jabalia refugee camp, they're like, we would not have bombed in that area if we had intelligence that there was a militant there. You don't do that. You don't bomb civilian centers like that. So the fact that they say these things, I mean, it's just, it is so ridiculous. There's not the words to express it. It's just shocking. And then you see the Flower Massacre today, and it's like, this ain't going to change. You would think that it's like, okay, if bombing hospitals and refugee camps and cultural centers and schools, if that's not, if that didn't change it, then maybe this will, but it's not. Nothing will change it. It's just, I'm losing my mind.
The thing with that one, the Flower Massacre, is that there are people in my heart I genuinely do not believe, like I've spoken to them, I've interviewed them, and I'm just not going to start some teen name streamers, but like there are people, liberals and streamers, who are tweeting out stuff where I'm like, at what point is there going to be that breaking moment where we're like, and I keep thinking it's going to happen. It was like one day, it was like, there was that, poor girl who died because she was in a car and the car was being shot up with her family. She lost her family, but then she called into an ambulance, and the IDF got that notification, so they knowingly targeted rescue workers going to, like, that was such a big story that I was like, okay, this is going to break through. It's going to make some liberals and democratic, no matter what, we have to support Israel people suddenly change. But like there are other people where they were justifying that slaughter as today being that it was actually because Palestinians were fighting. If you watch the footage of the IDF reliefs, they were fighting each other, and so it was just to prevent people from stealing it. And I was like, they're forcibly being starved. I don't know when you turned your humanity completely off, but like, I can't imagine what I would. Yes, I would fucking be trying to break into the flour truck to get the fucking flour to feed my dying family because I haven't eaten in months. Are you fucking kidding me? And then we're open fired upon. Like, what the fuck is going on?
They felt unsafe. The Israeli or the forces felt unsafe. So that was
Hamas was
reason enough to kill 100 people, injure 700 more.
It's even as they starve them and kill them due to hunger. They try to portray them as savages. Look at the way they act when we finally allow in aid. Yes. I mean, I'm sorry, how many people, if you have kids, you would kill for your kids if your kid was hungry, right? Like, everybody can say things like this, the extraordinary measures they would take to protect their family. But when Gazans do it, since they don't have the equal level of humanity as everyone else, it's like, man, look at these savages. They're just like bum rushing the fucking
They don't
cart.
think of them as humans. Like, they don't think of them as humans. That's the only way that they can possibly be separating that in their minds, like to justify any of this to themselves, is they don't think they're human, and it's just
right.
This is why the only response, or the only way to potentially stop any of this, is for Israel's allies like the U.S. to cut off funding, cut off support. That is the only way to potentially to stop any of it. I do want to share this.
Right. I mean, Americans have been sort of taught, sort of brainwashed in a way, to view one side as equal to them, and another side as terrorists. Period. Just terrorists. Right. Just no explanation, anything more than that. Just one side is good and like us, the other side is bad and not like us.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a State Department spokesperson. Let's just watch this exchange.
On the principle of it, why is it so difficult for this government to say we condemn the killing of children, Palestinian women and children? Why can't you say the word condemn?
Saeed, if you listen to what I said a moment ago,
hold
on. Saeed, please don't interrupt me. Yeah? I said far too many Palestinians have died. Thousands of Palestinian children have died, and it is a tragedy when one of them dies.
No, that's not.
Of course, we don't want to see a single
tragic. Like, I don't know. A car accident's a tragedy. Like, this is happening on purpose. There's somebody doing the murdering.
Death during a weather event is a tragedy. Like, no one's at fault for that. Usually, it's a event of God or whatever it's called. I can't.
Act of God.
Block right. Act of God. Thank you.
Act of God.
Yeah, he did not say condemn, and I'm sorry, saying too many have died is saying that there's an amount which is tolerable. There's an amount of dead that are tolerable.
Well, and while listening to this, like, imagine if the roles were reversed, and he's talking about Israeli deaths, and it was a tragedy. Like, just like, think of how, because it can be hard to really, this is for viewers, obviously you all know, but it can be hard for some people to really understand how twisted this all is until you try to think of it if it was the other way around, and it'd be so glaring and so obvious that it would get called out. But this gets ignored day in, day out, and they continue having these sorts of responses.
Child die. We don't want to see anyone die as a result of this conflict, which is why we have been working to bring this conflict to a close as soon as possible. But whenever you ask me these questions, I do think you continue to kind of just elide over the fact that Hamas bears a great deal of responsibility for putting those children in harm's way. Remember,
Israel bears responsibility for putting those civilians in harm's way. Like, just think of how fucking twisted all of this is.
it was Hamas that launched this war in the first place with an attack on Israel that killed
History
men,
began on the
women,
7th.
and children, and that Hamas that hid and continues to hide behind children as human shields.
Oh, right,
So, yes,
the human shields. Good.
yes,
all the classics.
Wait, hang on a second. Can you pause it? Because they keep saying this, but why is it that they are bombing civilian infrastructure disproportionately, but the Hamas tunnels for the most part are intact? Like, they're not trying to target Hamas. Like, this is an extermination. They want to wipe out Palestinians, period.
I don't think people have wrapped their heads around the scale of the starvation right now, but I was listening on Democracy Now! To the UN World Food Program chairman who was saying that this has never happened in human history at this scale, where there's nearly a half a million children who are at the point of starvation soon. And he's like, people have to recognize immediately what the costs will be if something is not done. They're used to getting close to 500 or 600 trucks a day, and now there's barely 100 getting through anymore. And like it's going to be historically horrifying. It already is, but like every moment that goes by is another moment that people are dying from starvation. Every single day.
Multiplying.
Yeah.
Any child die. We don't want to see any innocent civilian die, which is why we are working so hard to try to achieve a temporary ceasefire that would alleviate their suffering.
Temporary
I have not
ceasefire.
heard the word condemn. I mean, this war began way before October 7. I mean, in fact, the reason that this administration was so strong on, pursuing a Middle East peace and so on, because the war has been going on for decades before and so on. We heard this administration when they came into office talking about reopening the consulate, talking about reopening the PLO office here, talking about restarting and reigniting peace talks and so on, re-aiding UNRWA and so on, simply because that war has been going on for a very long time. Because Gaza was under siege for a very, very long time.
Saeed, nothing that happened before October 7th justifies what Hamas did on that day. And it is what Hamas did on that day that led to the outbreak of this war and led to the suffering of so many innocent Palestinians.
Not a war.
Wait, hold on. Pause this. If that is your through line there, if that's your narrative there, and you're not condemning the Israeli response, then you're saying what Hamas did to Israel, the 1,000 or so people that were killed on October 7th, is not justified by everything that happened over the past 75 years. Fine. But then, by that logic, you were saying the 30,000 people now that have been killed by Israel in Gaza, that is justified as a response to October 7th.
Yeah.
It's like David said, they're not seen as human.
He doesn't even realize it, because again, their lives don't fucking matter. It's
important to correct that fact.
That's fine. I mean, you guys said this many times before, but in fact, Israel has been waging war on Gaza for a very, very long time.
It's so fucking frustrating just to see these brick walls. Like,
it's the feigned obliviousness. We're telling them to do better. It's just, I'm so sick of it.
Yeah.
Well, now a moment from our sponsors. So if you're feeling a mental health crisis, you can go to betterhelp.com/theLeft. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have them.
Do you want a happy story? You want to talk about the gay whales? That's kind of happy. Whales be fucking gay.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't read it. Tell us.
That make them gay.
I just saw the picture.
Wow. We have the very first Yeah, we got the first photographs ever of like these whales fucking, and it turns out they were both dids. So the first ever photograph historically of this specific kind of whale fucking was some gay sex, hardcore gay sex action.
Wow. So hang on, what are we talking
Can
about?
you throw a picture up on? Can we grab a photo and throw it up?
I showed it on my stream, didn't get taken down, so I think we can show
Let's
some
see
hardcore
it. Yeah,
animal
let's
porn.
see.
You know.
That's it.
There you
That's
have
what
it.
I'm looking at.
There you have it.
So it seems like they. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's raw.
That's
He's
two
raw
whales
whaling
fucking. Yeah. Going in raw, baby.
Raw whaling.
It's like a Chihuahua and a Saint Bernard with the small one topping.
No, there's
I
not
like
more
that.
to that. I just thought you wanted.
I was like, there's a
here's
full
an easy
story
palate
here.
cleanse.
It's like they go into real detail about the interaction. Like, wow.
Well, it's because they don't really know what it means yet. They're like, because they like there's tons of other animals are gay as fuck, right? Dolphins, super gay. Dolphins have gay sex all the fucking time. So this is just like yet another.
But that's only
adding
because
to
of the gay dolphin propaganda that they're fed.
Yes.
Wait, do we
the
know
other
anything
gay
else
dolphins.
about the
that whale on
PDM,
top?
the TTN, anything like that? Statistics?
That whale on top looks like it's blowing out the other whale's humpback.
Right.
so ridiculous. That's an explicit dad joke.
So, but this is just very surface level. Like we don't have actual data, like with regard to TTN, time to
Like other
nut,
possessions?
ppm, pumps per minute. Like I want to know the very specific details.
choking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They edge. Is there foreplay? That's because
Is there
they're intelligent
foreplay?
creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Poppers?
Interesting.
Who knows?
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read the article. Maybe there's those details.
Type in
what
time
is
to
whale
nut.
pussy? Wussy, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Ussy, I'm gonna read a tweet to you, and I just want you to guess who this is, and I'm sure you're gonna know who it is. And then I'll give you the context afterwards. Okay. When I got a girl around me, I'm fucking her twice a day. LOL.
Yes.
Ask some of your favorites.
I saw the tweet.
Pussy don't control me, but it's like a high. One love to the gay people, but that juicy pussy do it for me. I ran red lights to get that feeling.
Bizarro Ben Shapiro.
Is this all weird on here like the Devils? LOL.
Is this you in high? Is that you in high school? Is that what that's from?
Honestly, kinda. Yeah, so that is Mick Mill, and I, on one hand, like he's a bad person, but the way that people
Wait, what's
found
going
out.
on with this? I'm completely.
Oh, so you don't know who it
divorced
is?
From what's going on here?
It's
No, I
also
really don't.
it's amazing copy pasta on the internet right now. It's
yeah.
Nor
one
do
of
I
the
know
few
what
fun
the
stories.
Nor do I know what the context is. Like, why did he come out and just say this? I'm confused.
So he on his public Twitter account, the rapper Meek Mill liked a gay porn Twitter account. He was following them.
Did he?
So then, yeah, and it kind of blew up. Which, as far as I know, I don't think he's like openly, explicitly homophobic. So this is just like, as far as I know, a classic case of somebody getting outed. Like I'm 100% cool with outing bigots and homophobes, but when you get outed like that, it's really unfortunate. But after that, he went into damage control mode, and he confirmed that he's not gay. It was just a coincidence, I guess, that he liked that account.
Wait,
because
wasn't there
pussy
more?
do it for me.
I thought there was more to that story.
He could be bi. He could be bi.
Well, there's also
Because
he was implicated in the Diddy
lawsuit.
story, right?
Yeah, there's a lawsuit against
Yeah.
P. Diddy where he's implicated, but it doesn't name the rapper. But if you connect the dots, it apparently is talking about Meek Mill, and he may or may not have had. Again, these are allegations within a lawsuit of somebody who may be lying, but may have had sexual relations with P. Diddy, is what it sounds like,
right?
As well as another rapper. So that's, yeah, I'm looking up now, but that's,
yeah.
I
I know
think the
Lance
genesis
probably
of a lot of
has
this.
more of the story. I think he talked about it on his stream, I want to say. But yeah, I saw some of that. So I haven't followed the Diddy story too closely. I was hoping that Lance or Rebecca would be able to fill us in on that. But it's apparently like explosive. Like there's so much with regard to this. Like every allegation you can imagine. It's a very, very long and detailed lawsuit against Diddy. And yeah, there's a lot of other rappers that are, and people in general, that are implicated in this as well. Young Miami from City Girls, I'm assuming, I haven't read it. Lance, did you have the details on the Diddy lawsuit? Because that's how Meek Mill was also implicated too, right? And
was he? I was, yeah. So the latest information on this is, I think yet another person is coming forward with accusations of like the Diddy accusations at this point. They're getting into like Harvey Weinstein territory, where there was like multiple accounts of grooming, multiple of both boys and girls, forcing underage performers to either engage in sexual acts or force them to engage with sex acts with sex workers, druggings. It just goes on and on and on, and there's so much shit in it. Like it's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah. So that the account is why I'm assuming Meek Mill made that post. Although he was very he was posting a lot that same night. It seemed like he was having a manic episode. If I'm being honest, like there was something concerning about his behavior. But that tweet, everybody was. I saw that LOL overruled. Like put Biden's name on it, so it looked like Biden made the tweet. Very, very funny. But yeah, very bizarre.
Is it like it's implied that he's like a chaser or he's like secretly gay? Is that why?
I think it's implied that he's secretly gay and doesn't want to come out, or bisexual at a minimum. I'm not really sure. But that's I guess his official response was that tweet where he's like, no, I'm not gay. The allegations are false. But he did it in such a weird, comical way that he got more people to talk about it. You know what I mean? And didn't really ameliorate people who are concerned about that. And then, people made a lot of great points about how it doesn't matter what his sexuality is. Like the abuse is really what should be like the focus,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But we live in a world where, it's a very homophobic world. And on top of that, he kind of I understand why people are fixated on that, because I was fixated on it. It was such a weird tweet. And I saw it last night and I accidentally retweeted it when I was trying to quote tweet it. And then Twitter was fucking up on my phone, so I couldn't unretweet it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to bed until I get to my desktop tomorrow. I'm just unironically tweeting out that Meek Mill shit. It was it's objectively a good tweet in a vacuum, right? Once you start to learn the context, it's like, wow, there's a lot here. I disavow, but the tweet itself, 10 out of 10.
No notes. Yeah. I mean, that would be. It sucks. That there's so many stories involving people who may even be like really big bigots themselves. I don't know if you saw JLP. I don't know if you know who he is. He's the beta guy who always says that. He apparently is actually multiple people have accused him of being like a homosexual predator, and like trying to get people in his congregation or people around him. And he finally got called out for that on like the Ep.63 podcast, and they were like showing the gay porn that he liked and stuff like that, and being like, so you can pretty much admit now that this was you who liked the gay porn and on your Twitter. A lot of people out themselves for horniness online, RFK Jr. was another one that just got caught being a little sliding into people's replies.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, RFK Jr. got a little bit horny, like the pussy guy.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw this. I posted the screenshots, but Ryan Walters, who is the superintendent of Oklahoma, the guy who brought on Libs of TikTok. So I did a video today about I was
just watching that before the stream. Mike, so good.
Yeah,
so
everybody
good.
Go to the Sean Cummings TikTok account. He has him. I have the video as well, but I want to give him credit. He went to a school board meeting and confronted this guy to his face. And it was so satisfying about Next Benedict, saying, you have blood on your hands. There's going to be a lawsuit. I hope it bankrupts you. It was so good. But later on TikTok, he talked about a little bit more about it. And then he dropped some tea that was so it was unbelievable. Or I shouldn't say unbelievable. It was just not expected, right? So the guy, Ryan Walters, 95% chance that he's gay. That's why he's so focused on LGBTQ plus issues like Chaya Raichik. So there's a photo. Idea. Yeah, actually, I could pull it up. So I tweeted about this.
If you don't know this guy, by the way, he's all over PragerU. You've probably seen him before. Yep. He's one of the people who's supposed to be incorporating PragerU's education into actual public education in the United States. And he's also the person who tried to appoint, or actually did appoint, Libs of TikTok's Chaya Raichik, the stochastic terrorist, onto the Oklahoma Public Library Advisory Board and stuff like that. And so the fact that he got called out to his face is incredible.
Yeah.
So is this all the evidence presented so far? Don't get me wrong, like but
well, listen,
a couple of boys having fun.
Sometimes straight friends put their arms around each other and grab each other's legs and wear matching flip-flops. So I grant you that this isn't definitive evidence, but do you want to see the definitive evidence?
Uh-oh.
Is it allowed on YouTube?
I rest my case. I rest my fucking case. Olay would be able to confirm legally he's dead to rights. So yeah, and I addressed this.
I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I don't think I've ever seen that guy's face before in my life.
Yeah, I addressed this in the video, but people tend to say that I think that everybody who's a homophobe is gay. That's technically not true, but it's a fair criticism to lob at me. And part of that might be projection because I was a very loud homophobe before I came out as well. But in my defense, as I said in my video, I'm right. And I don't think everyone who's a homophobe is gay. I think that Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, J.K. Rowling, I think that they're probably not gay.
Actually, Michael Knowles is probably bi.
I was going to say bi, yeah. He gives me bi vibes.
Probably bi too.
Right, and I think that he's not he's kind of more towards the straight end on the Kinsey scale, but he's in that bisexual range, right? But not everyone is going to be, externalizing their internal struggle. Having said that, though, there's a lot of people that you can explain their behavior based on their struggle. They kind of out themselves in certain ways. And I've talked about this before. Chaya Raichik, for example, when she was on Tucker Carlson, her big coming out party where she decided to dox herself, she said something that was incredibly sus to anyone who's LGBTQ+. Yeah, the reason why, LGBTQ plus content shouldn't be around kids is because it's alluring. You don't find that alluring unless you're tempted by it. If I show Matt a picture of two guys kissing, Matt's not going to be like, oh, I'm tempted, because Matt isn't gay. You know what I mean? It's only something that is alluring to you if
we have
you
to try
are.
This. Come on, let's do this. Run this experiment. How much can we show Binder? How much hardcore gay porn can we make him watch?
We should do a stress test, right? Show me a bunch of straight pictures. We show Binder a bunch of gay shit, and then we'll see if we can actually switch our orientations just to test it, right? For science.
Let's try to do hypnosis on both of you. Michael Knowles is obsessed with sissy hypnosis porn. He has 7 videos on it, and he's on the alluring powers of it, on how it's converting people to either be trans or gay. He's interviewed people who apparently are whistleblowers who have who work for Pornhub or one of those many websites, MindGeek, and they were yeah, we actually do. Binder, you were watching that video where the guy's talking about how basically AI does algorithms to promote the content you watch. That's what is the big reveal.
Right.
But he was trying to say that this was to hypnotize people and turn them more gay or turn them more trans by watching more trans porn, as if that's how becoming trans works. You watch enough trans porn and then you identify as trans. But the gay stuff for sure. Mike, I think you're onto something.
Yeah,
the term alluring, it only makes sense if you
it's such a giveaway. It's not allure. If it's already in you, maybe seeing it will trigger something, but it's not gonna turn you. It may make you realize, hey, maybe I'm not straight. That's the extent of the power of it.
Because if that were true, then I would be the straightest person in the world, right? Because there is so much heterosexuality. There's straight sex scenes in every movie I see, every song I listen to. Right. It's everywhere, right?
Every cartoon when you were growing up, the very idea of love sold to you by Disney is as straight as it gets. Every single relationship, you might get nowadays you get a side character or someone in the background that can be edited out of other markets and stuff. But there's no the Lion King of gay. Right? That would be seen as degenerate,
Right. And listen, the reason why this whole narrative about people being able to choose their sexuality is back again is because we have a lot of closeted homophobes who need to be outed, who haven't been outed yet, right? Listen, before I came out of the closet, I was very big on it's a choice, because in my mind it was, listen, we all want to be gay, but we choose not to, okay? We suppress those feelings, okay? And we try really hard to like women. So they think that you can choose because they're just not acting on their homosexuality, but that doesn't change their sexual orientation, in its core. They're still deeply, deeply gay, right? So, yeah.
And a lot of these people have to be religious, right? Because that's the only reason why there's this struggle, is because there's something else fighting against that. Because otherwise, there's no reason not to fight it. You just accept, what you're feeling. But
David or Mike, put the tweet I just sent into the chat up. I want to show you like the 80s and 90s cartoons and wrestling. I know Matt Binder will like that photos I found. It was so queer coded and gay. If you couldn't make this shit today, it would be seen as like hardcore pornography and degeneracy of the highest order. But like, come on, He-Man, the whole like
Right.
that stuff is hardcore kink by today's standards.
That's
now.
true. Yeah.
Well, these guys are
wow.
Demolition Man.
He-Man has a bob.
I
don't know about these dudes, but
but this is kink, is my point.
Yeah.
Like, this is hardcore pornography. Like, look how many kids are in the background. You can see children in the background of the picture there, right? Yeah. And this is just wrestling, you know.
Oh, damn!
This is Thundercats. Now you're all bisexual. You can't control.
Oh my
it.
God! I was gonna say, yeah, I don't recognize this one. This one might be before my time.
This is the pilot of Thundercats, but it's like it's nuts. It's just like, you know, the shit that today you would have been said to be like hardcore pornography. This is LGBTQ plus indoctrination and all that kind of shit.
Yeah,
can't make those shows today anymore.
Yeah, so that's why, in a nutshell, why I like often will speculate about people's sexuality. And it's not necessarily, you know, what someone's sexuality is obviously is not important, but I think that it's important to make these kinds of speculative claims about people like Chaya Raichik and Ryan Walters, because first and foremost, I want to disincentivize homophobia. So if they truly are homophobic and think gay people are icky, I want them to shut up about it so people don't think that they're gay, right? If it gets them to suppress their homophobia and go back into the closet, I think that that's a victory. Second of all, there's been a lot of people who have been outed. Ted Haggard, like you don't have to go to gayhomophobe.com. There's like a list. There's so many of them. It's because a lot of people are externalizing their internal struggle, right? Because you can just like, if somebody is comfortable with their sexuality, like there's who you just are. Like you don't go out of your way to try to prove it.
Look at the Pornhub search results in red states. It's like trans porn. Like red states are obsessed with trans porn. And it's like usually the things that like the state will be the most against: degeneracy, homosexuality, all that kind of stuff. It's like, but you love fucking fapping to it, you know? You love fucking gooning. You're all a bunch of gooners. You're all a bunch of coon brain gooners and hateful bigots at the same time, right?
You disgusting coomers. Even the straight men, like they consume a lot of lesbian porn as well. Like LGBTQ plus content is very, very popular, you know. And I'm so like, I hate to break it to you, fellas, but lesbian porn is gay. You know, it's literally gay.
It's made for it's like you could argue that it's made for straight eyes and it's like straight coded, whereas actual like lesbian produced lesbian porn is quite different. But still, like they're engaged in gay acts. They're doing the gay. You are aroused by gay in a different form, I guess. Is what you could say.
yeah, literally. So. Yeah, I just think it's funny, you know, that this conversation, like all the old tropes kind of came back. Like there was an interview with Rogan and what's his name, Brett Weinstein, where they were even doing the AIDS is a gay disease thing, or it's like I'm paraphrasing what he said, but like all the old
he doesn't believe that HIV causes AIDS in today's day and age, which is so wild. Like shout out to Debunk the Funk, awesome YouTube channel that scientifically, the guy's like a scientist. He breaks down all the fake science of Joe Rogan. That's his whole channel. So Debunk the Funk if you like it, but he was like, the reason this one's so easy and quick, even if you don't have a lot of medical background, is that we can point towards the fact that retrovirus drugs have allowed people with HIV to live very long lives, in some cases almost the same length that they would have lived in otherwise. So we know this works. It's like, we know HIV causes AIDS, right? And so like to do that in today's day and age.
That one. Like I was actually like, you know, as over the top and anti-science and pro-misinformation these guys are. I did not think in the year 2024 on the most popular podcast on the planet there would be a discussion about how, you know what, HIV doesn't really cause AIDS, and we know this. It's the party drugs that the gays were doing. That's the cause of AIDS.
Yeah, it's wild. But I mean, it's
poppers was causing it for sure. Yeah,
it's par for the course in an era where like measles is literally coming back because people don't want to vaccinate kids again.
Oh my god!
So you know, it's just we're kind of going backwards as a society, and it sucks. The momentum is very clearly headed in that direction. Hopefully, we can turn it around soon. Not looking great, but I'm crossing my fingers.
We were supposed to have flying cars, time travel, and like healthy cocaine by now, and instead we get this shit. You know, like what the fuck is that?
I know it's yeah. Well, it's not super chat time yet.
Super chat. My eyes are glazing over. You guys can do what you want, but
we can start early if you want to. I'm gonna get to the bathroom.
It'll be the smallest thing. Did all of you see the Wonka thing? Just if you haven't, do it. Put some joy into your lives. Yes. It is the funnest, happiest story of the week. Nothing brought me more joy, made me laugh more. Did all of you read the script? If you haven't, read the fucking script. I think Binder of all people,
what happened?
You should have done a story on this. You haven't heard the Wonka thing?
No, I've heard the Wonka thing. It was good.
Okay.
Someone else at Mashable did wrote about it. I thought it was interesting. It certainly is funny. It's not really my my wheelhouse.
I thought, well, because of all the AI that was driving the whole thing. I thought that's why you would have loved it.
That's a good point. That's definitely that part of it's my wheelhouse. But the general gist of it,
the stupid like the what is it, like the low
Glasgow
budget thing.
The Willie's chocolate experience with the wackadoodles.
I was like, what is this? I don't understand why this is even. Who funded
it's
this?
An
Why is
awesome
this here?
internet rabbit hole just to go down. Like, it goes deep. It's like a dude who is a QAnoner who sells AI literature about anti-vax nonsense to AI gullible QAnoners, invented an experience for parents to go to that he completely made with AI. Like AI pictures, sold it. AI scripting, basically was the script that everyone had to act out. So it was just slightly like not copy or copywritten. But the best part is he went 1/8 of the way. It wouldn't have been funny if he didn't go at all and just basically ripped everyone off and took the money, or if we went so far that it was a nice production, but it was 1/8. It was like a perfect. He just hired enough actors, gave them AI scripts, put like maybe 6 props in a warehouse, was giving each kid like 3 jelly beans, a half a glass of lemonade. It's like, it's so like 8th-assed. It's not even quarter-assed. It's 8th-assed, and it's so weird. And like, oh man, I loved it. I was furiously trying to find more video footage of like the characters and all of them. But anyways, if you haven't watched it, please do it. It'll make you happy in an otherwise very depressing week.
Where did Mike go? Oh,
he said he's going to the bathroom, but start super chats
there
if
he
you want
is.
to do them. David, go nuts.
I'm back.
All right. Yeah. Do we do gift memberships? I forget. It's only been 63 episodes.
I think if there's 5
63, holy shit!
Is it? Yeah, we're at 63.
Yeah, we've been.
There you go. Tokyo Hans map it in memberships.
Oh, is this for me? I don't even know.
I have no idea. It's the first one.
Someone gifted 5 memberships. You should thank them. That's a big.
Thank you, Tokyo Hans. I missed it. I was looking at my.
I thanked him for him.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tokyo Hans. I appreciate it. This is not for me. I just looked.
Not for me either, actually.
What? Oh,
it might be for Rebecca, actually.
God, no, it was for me. I was scrolled to the very bottom of the page without realizing it. Man. Dylan Kelly, thank you for the $10 super chat.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
I gotta get some better.
That's still the best one, though. I love it.
I'm a Metro Detroiter who voted uncommitted in the Dem primary on Tuesday. It's obvious there's a genocide. Yeah. We need to think about the quality of our ally. The quality of our allies. Hopefully, Biden takes notice now.
Love that.
One can hope.
Excuse me. Jeez.
Not sure if that's going to happen. Bless you.
God bless you.
Yes, may God bless you. It doesn't say who this is for. Doesn't normally say. Well, we have no. Yeah, we'll never know.
It does. It does though. It does say. If you look at your YouTube studio.
Oh, in here, but like this one says Matt Binder memberships, but the actual member does not say. Who this?
I believe you.
This one's for me. Angelin De Bagshagi. I'm sorry for messing that up with the super chat.
You nailed it.
This I don't even know. I wouldn't even know where to begin, honestly. This is the exact same thing they did to get the U.S. public on board with the first Gulf War under Daddy Bush, babies in incubators, etc. Same thing.
Rachel Atwood with $5. Thank you. Would you guys have Curtis from the Turn Left podcast on as a guest to discuss UK news? Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I would love to talk about UK news. So yeah, I'm open to it. I think it'd be cool to bring on the Tabernacle as well to talk about UK news too. He does really great content. So yeah, we got to bring on a couple of Brits on an episode. That'd be fun.
You like both of those people.
What's going on here? Is there there's
a concerted effort to confuse Matt Bender, apparently.
Yeah, what is this name? Jay Kishabiokum. I'm sorry if I messed that up. I tried my best. But a $10 super chat, so I appreciate it. Not to mention that those involved with the writing are directly linked to Israeli propagandists. This is talking about that New York Times article. Yes.
That's true, yeah. Very long article, but you did a great job summarizing it, Bender.
This is for
better than I could have
Rebecca. Donald James, $5 super chat. I support you, Rebecca. You do good work. Rebecca.
Oh, nice.
Rebecca thanks you. There you go.
Yeah, Rebecca's, I don't know if you all saw, I highlighted it on the screen, but she's working overtime, so she couldn't make it tonight, but just in case you didn't see
Tokyo Hans with a super chat. Latest New York Times headline: Rise in right-wing sentiments in the U.S. thanks to Canadian nationalist YouTuber known to defend a Nazi against physical violence. Wait, what? What am I missing here? Is this a joke, or I don't even know?
Rise in right-wing sentiments in the U.S. thanks to Canadian nationalist YouTuber. I don't get it.
I mean, if it's Canadian Nazi, that's got to be you, David, and your audience, I suppose.
Oh, is that what he's trying to say?
Is this the joke? I think
you
so.
said it with a straight face, Lance. You made it so funny.
Rebecca, thank you for the super chat. Says y'all are so beautiful
sweet.
and well spoken.
You're beautiful too, Rebecca. You're the most beautiful.
It's true.
Kuya Damon with a super chat. Thanks for your punk recommendations for No Values Pomona last week during your stream. Been doing a little listening before I buy a ticket for the event. Oh, have a good time. Check out those bands, which I'm assuming you're going to, being that you're listening to them, and let me know how it is.
Jason P with $20. Thank you so much, and I love the doggy in your little avatar there. That's really cool. Mike, your video featuring the Village, Oklahoma Vice Mayor was powerful, and I just broke down. His speech was so impactful. I watched the video twice. Yeah, it was so good. Outstanding job highlighting someone who properly demonstrates leadership. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was really, really good. After I had finished the video, I found like the full clip, so I had to like update it after it was done. And then I saw that Sean Cummings, who gave the speech, had posted Ryan Walters' reaction, so I had to like tie that into it, and it was hard to line it up, but I did it. It was so good, and like that guy really gives me hope.
Is he on Twitter? What's his handle?
He is on Twitter. I can't. It's like he was tweeted about by Libs of TikTok, and there's a tweet in my video where she tags him, so you can see like his Twitter handle there. So I'm not sure. His TikTok is Sean_Cummings_Irish_pub. I think he owns an Irish pub. But yeah, it was really sweet because like he's an older man, older cis, straight man, and he's like the alphabet people. Like the way he said it was like very loving, and I thought it was really cute. Just like it's so nice to see people who like stick their neck on the line and then like go out of their way to like defend marginalized communities. What he said was just so good. So yeah, I'm glad you found a lot of hope in that video, because it really, seeing that was very, very awesome to me as well.
Oh, especially with how fucked up the reporting has been on that particular story involving Nex Benedict, and like as like there's been so little respect to the fact that the investigation is ongoing. That people should, like, the parents themselves didn't fully understand his pronouns and identity, which is why he was misgendered at first. But like again, it's all those things as the story goes on. Like it's been really infuriating to watch. So watching that clip, your video today, actually, thanks, Mike. That made me happy. Like.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. It was so nice to see. It was so satisfying to see this guy get ripped to shreds, because he is culpable here.
Ace Area 51 with a membership super chat, member for 7 months. Thank you, Ace Area 51. Such a contrast between POTUS reaction to Aaron Bushnell compared to Arab Spring self-immolation. Search up Obama honors Bouaziz.
I watched that today on stream. It's like night and day. But like
we didn't talk.
Nope. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say we didn't talk about this at all. Maybe we should pull the super chat down and we should do a quick couple minutes on I'm sure you guys have talked about it on your streams, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Multiple times.
Right.
David did a really good video on it, actually. A very responsible video, I'd say.
What'd you say, David? I didn't see it.
It was like the day after, and it was like a 20-minute video, but it just broke down what he did and the historical context to it, and how there were some attempts to try and paint this as like, mental illness or something, but this is just an extreme form of protest that has been going on for 1,000 years. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of examples of it, and also a lot of my focus was on the media response to it, and CNN actually did a good job, like a 2-minute discussion on it, and they broke it down. They discussed what his last words were. Meanwhile, MSNBC kind of like tossed it aside and then ended it with like a suicide hotline number, and it's just like, no, this is not right.
Yeah,
liberals were doing that across the board. Like that was infuriating me so much.
That reaction to it is something I have never, ever seen for any other similar act of protest. When the Vietnamese monk self-immolated to protest how Vietnam was treating the Buddhists at that time, right before the Vietnam War. No one, I don't recall, like, I'm not even talking about then either. To this day, it's covered historically as an incredible act of protest. Like something that's looked at as like, wow, this person was principled and, felt strongly about what they were putting their life on the line for. It wasn't, these acts have never been viewed. And then like the super chat just said, and how Len said he was watching earlier, the Tunisian man who sparked the entire Arab Spring.
Yeah.
When he self-immolated because of the constant cracking down from the Tunisian government of him just trying to live his life selling, in that they had like a market, and he worked and he was his livelihood basically, and he just couldn't take it anymore, and as an act of protest against his government, he did this. I mean, I've never ever seen anyone call this like suicide or mental illness before. I've never seen anyone even discuss this as like, you got to be careful how you talk about this. Copycats, This is not an act.
It was with intent, and it worked. It worked. Every single person suddenly was like, no, I'm not trying to advocate for people killing themselves. I'm not trying to advocate for, committing like self-harm or stuff like that. I'm simply stating that we need to acknowledge that he was very clear and concise. People who have mental illness are not, stating every single thing that they're about to do right before they do like an incredibly violent act like this, after the fact, pre-planned everything out. I'm going to donate all of my money to Palestinian charities. I'm going to have all of these messages come out. Like
he did as well, I think.
Yeah, he did as well as well. And then he also tried, people were also trying to say that this was left-wing indoctrination and radicalization, and that this is what the end result of people, in the way they're talking about martyrs and using terms like martyrs and language like that. And this is what it's going to lead to is this kind of, we have to vilify him. We have to mock him. We have to mock his suicide, all that kind of stuff. It's honestly, it's sick. Like Matt's saying, I don't think I've seen it done this way, where someone doing such an extremely violent thing, like the whole reason it had power and obviously something people were talking about is because of how horrifying it is. It's not glorifying the act of burning yourself alive. There's a reason why this particular form of protest historically is just jaw-dropping, but both in its like the amount of pain it must cause you, the visual nature of it. It's like it's the most horrifying thing you can imagine, and someone's doing it as a form of protest,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you certainly to do this, you certainly have to be in a certain mental state. Like, this isn't an act that just anyone can do. Like, that's the whole thing about how ridiculous this whole, we have to be careful about copycats. This isn't a copycat thing. This is a brutally painful way to basically show your feelings for a specific issue. You're ready to go out, literally die on this hill and say, this is what I'm fighting for. This is what I believe in so much that I'm willing to give my life to it. It's not something that I've ever seen discussed in this way, and it was a way to demean him in the act, obviously. And you know, it was incredibly gross, honestly, to see how people were talking about this, and
or still talking about this.
Yeah, still talking.
Yeah,
about it.
the ADL is trying to defame him, ironically.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was in the Air Force makes it, you know, that much more symbolic, because you could argue, you know, he put his life on the line for the country, and here he is turning it around and doing it for this cause. Yeah, the image of that, and like I don't know about you, I couldn't watch the full video. I know myself. I know I don't need to watch the full video to get what happened, but I watched the beginning where he discussed what he was going to do, and he was very calm, very like he knew exactly what he was doing, why he was doing it. There was no question there. He was in his right state of mind for what he was about to do, and it was powerful.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, the image of the guy with the gun pointed at him as well, that like really stuck with me.
Yeah, that was insane.
Because it's like, you know, this is somebody who is no threat to anyone but himself, and you're sitting there shooting, and then the guy who brought the fire extinguisher was like, I don't need guns, I need fire extinguishers. It just like, to me, like, it was so striking, because it's like, that really is a microcosm of like the broader problem with the United States, where it doesn't matter what's happening. Like, we always respond by violence. It's like a knee-jerk reaction, right? Like, just more violence. That's how you respond to everything, every single issue, including somebody lighting themselves on fire. So that also like was another element that wasn't discussed as much, which is good, because you want the message to be discussed. But it also was just so striking to me to see. Like, I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we you know, as a progressive, you know, I personally believe, you know, there are countries, even states here in the U.S., where people can choose to end their life. Like, it's called dying with dignity. Like, people who have a terminal illness, or you know,
you can in Canada too. It has to be approved by two doctors, but yeah, you can.
Right, but they can choose to end their life and decide that, you know, they don't want to be here. You know, I personally ascribe to the belief, just who I am, is that, you know, I don't believe in an afterlife or anything. So in my view, we, in the big picture, as individuals, are here on this earth for a very short period of time. And so I would like to be here as long as possible and make the absolute most of it, because I have all of eternity for whatever it is that I will be doing after I die.
This.
Right. So, but like, that's my personal opinion. Like, if someone was to tell me they were going to do this act, I would try to talk them out of it, because of that belief that I have, that's my personally held belief. But if someone else just doesn't want to, believes the opposite, like they don't want to be here, and they are not suffering from a mental illness or incapacitated in any way, where they're not thinking straight, suffering from depression or anything, if they are not in that state, if that's not what's happening to them, then who am I to say they don't have that right? I can choose to be here for as long as I want, and they can't choose to be here for as long as they want. I mean, it's just, and to choose to do that in order to stand up for something that they believe in. Like, you know, again, I would tell them not to do it, and I would, you know, but that's me. That's not, that person's not me. And the idea that we talk about him, like he doesn't have a grasp on what he did or had the right to do it, is just, I don't, like, you know, it's beyond me. He didn't hurt anybody except himself, and he was very clear as to why he was doing it. And you know,
well, it's with intent though, right? Because look at what the conversation changes to. Rather than talk about how sick of a world it is that someone would think they had to do this just to be heard or get their message out or oppose or try to protest genocide, we're talking about whether or not it's okay to even talk about what he did. You know, is it in danger? Is it furthering people who might have suicidal ideation? Is it you're going to hurt people who have mental health issues? Did he have mental health issues? Is that like that all of a sudden becomes the conversation, rather than like, once again, in other cases historically, you can look towards people being like, this was a horrifying thing that happened, and it was a very, very difficult but brave form of protest that someone just did. That's how it's like. Obama speaks that way about again, the person who launched the Arab Spring.
Yeah, and honestly, like the fact that there's even a conversation about his mental health, and like that's being perceived as mental illness, when the people doing the genocide, like they're not the ones that were speculating whether or not they're mentally ill. as they gleefully murder indiscriminately, and the people supporting it and cheerleading it, like that to me is very sick as well. Because it's the ones that care about genocide that I think are the sane ones.
Right. Yeah. Like what? Why isn't it? Why isn't it insanity to think what's going on is fine? Why isn't it insanity to support what's going on? Why isn't it insanity to cheer on what's going on? Why isn't it mental illness to sign up to take part in it and actively want to go out there and be a part of killing innocent civilians? That's not considered mental illness. Like I do think the act of Aaron, like I personally, before he did this, I would have assumed that an act like this, because it happened. Someone else, a woman in, I think, DC did this.
I didn't even know about that. Because the reason we all know about this is because he live streamed his actual version. Plus, he's a service member too, right? So
right. I think the live streaming obviously is a big part of it, but I think the bigger part of it is who he was. He was an active member of the military.
He was IT, by the way. Not a lot of people know that. He was working directly in information, and he was getting and controlling a huge amount of the flow of information. He was privy to so much of it, not just the stuff that civilians would see, but the stuff that the military had access to. And as a result of that, like I saw a lot of people online who were like, can't I reveal who I am? But I'm working within the military. Heads are spinning over this one. Like this is not a normal thing. This is not something that everyone's like, oh, that it's just par for the course. It happens. This is a holy fuck moment.
Yeah.
But I think him being a military, active military member played a huge role in how much attention this did get, because I think in our current, world where the news cycle moves so quickly and we just hear about death and destruction all the time, even before this latest situation in Gaza. We've become desensitized. So I would have assumed that this wouldn't have got all that much attention, as much attention as it did get. And I do think the fact of and he knew this. He did it in uniform. He knew exactly what he was doing and why it would be significant that he was doing it. It just all goes to show that he was of sound mind in terms of knowing what he was doing when he chose to do this. Again, I do think you have to have a certain mental state that not the vast majority of people will never be in or be able to get to, because it's just such a rare act. But to say that's mental illness is incorrect.
Right.
Yeah. All right. The next one here.
Oh, I think this one is... No, this one's not for me.
Cosmere Dragon, $10 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. Says, does anyone have a contact for John Idarola, host of The Damage Report? I'd love to see the Dragon Daddy himself make an appearance on Leftist Mafia. I've been on a couple of, I think 2 episodes of that show. John's great.
Yeah, I love John.
I'd be curious if he would want to come on due to some of the history.
I think he probably would.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But John's awesome.
Yeah, I would love to bring on John. I think he probably would come on.
Probably. Yeah, he's great.
Did you see Biden campaign finally responded to the uncommitted votes, listen to Michigan, both campaign and vote?
Like recently?
Yeah. The comments by Biden's campaign co-chair, Mitch Landrieu, that he said, quote, "We're going to continue to talk to them and then ask them to think about choices and what the consequences are about electing someone who wants to have a Muslim ban." They did the thing.
It's a messaging problem, folks, not a genocide problem. We just gotta articulate ourselves better, okay? Explain the genocide and the consequences of them not supporting us supporting the genocide, and then everything will be fine. The fact that they put out that statement, like Biden, he's got to fire Mitch Landrieu as a co-chair immediately. Like that dude, like I hope that he's not representative of the rest of the Biden campaign co-chairs, because they got some bad people doing some PR.
That is 100%. No, that is 100% their perspective.
Yeah, it's not like uncharacteristic of the message so far. Very, very bad stuff.
Not me.
Oh, this is for me. Ryan Chan with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Ryan. On election day, 30% voted uncommitted, 21% voted uncommitted on early in person. That's really good considering uncommitted just started 3 weeks ago. Right, that's another thing too. Like the uncommitted vote on election day was really big, meaning that they were gaining momentum. Like imagine what it would have been if the early in-person votes had more time. Imagine what it would have been if the mail-in votes had more time in terms of like, you know, them ramping this up. And then on top of that, imagine how much more it would have been on election day if they had those extra weeks too. They did what literal presidential campaigns with massive funding and a whole team of people doing it as a job could not do. I mean, look at the two. Look at I know Marianne Williamson technically dropped out, but look at Dean Phillips. Nothing. No, you got like
she unsuspended.
Votes. She unsuspended, right?
Yeah.
Oh. I wish we had. I wish obviously they couldn't have foreseen this coming, and whoever this anonymous individual would have been, even jumping in October would have been too late. But I wish there was a legitimate left-wing movement candidate running, because I think this would have even had more momentum if there was someone there speaking out for people to vote for too. Like I said, people like to vote for somebody. Is this for me too? Let me say, yes, Pinkerbell with a membership super chat, member for 4 months. Thank you, Pinkerbell. Regarding Israel war propaganda, we are all old enough to remember the early days of Russia-Ukraine war fake stories, and almost no one learned anything. Right. This is for me too. John Deere with a super chat. Just have to say, Dune 2 mocking the shit out of Southern fundamentalists is worth the trip to the theater this weekend. I do have to see Dune 2. I've heard very good things.
I'm excited.
I've heard it's one of the best like sci-fi movies that there has been.
I'm going on Saturday. I'm fucking pumped.
I'm gonna wait till it hits streaming because I cannot sit in the theater. How long is this one? Like 4 hours?
I know.
Not long enough.
The first one I watched in like I think 3 sittings. I can't watch long movies anymore. It's just not. Yeah, I can't.
Oh no!
I just saw
that long.
This shit up.
I just watched the first one, not the original, the first one, because every time I tried to watch it, I would fall asleep. Something about the sand, the sand setting would
really.
But I stayed up. I stayed up
movie.
to watch the whole thing one sitting. I did think it was a good movie. I do think I did think that there was no real like memorable cinematic sort of like
I don't
moments.
know you. I don't know either.
I did think there was a lot of hype behind it. I just thought it was a good sci-fi movie. I enjoyed it immensely. I'm looking forward to the second one, but I think it was overhyped. I do hear that this one is really good though.
You want to stay awake for the whole movie? Get the popcorn bucket. Get the popcorn bucket and
I saw that. Yeah.
When you put your hand in.
I actually just didn't think nothing.
It looks like a cock
really...
sleeve. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, one that hurts you like a torture device.
Forbidden pussy.
Yeah, the forbidden. Yeah, the worm, but the wussy.
HG in the chat said it perfectly. I wasn't overwhelmed. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I wasn't overwhelmed. The big fight scene moment that changes the course of everything. It wasn't that big of a fight scene. Nothing really. It wasn't
are you not
great.
a big Denis Villeneuve fan? Like at this point,
I'm actually not. No.
Oh my god,
I am.
I don't know you.
He's
I
great.
have no idea who you are. Yeah,
I'm excited for it. I like the first movie a lot. My only reservation is that I really wanted to finally. I never read the book. I wanted to read the book before seeing the second movie. But I might just give into the hype and go see it because the first one I thought was really great.
I am more of like a Blade Runner.
I mean, people in the chat are talking about the sandworms.
Kind of setting,
right. People in the chat are talking about the sandworms were impressive, but I mean, I've seen Beetlejuice. Those sandworms are just as impressive. Honestly,
I know.
Did you go to the theater with a date that was like a little bit handsy when you saw Beetlejuice? I'm sorry, Beetlejuice has been ruined for me. I had to mention.
Were you masking it with big fat rips and?
Wait, why has Beetlejuice been ruined for you?
Because Lauren Boebert was in the theater vaping and jerking off her date.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is forever. My childhood ruined. Thanks, Lauren.
I thought you were telling me a personal story about how like when you were like middle school or something, you got like a handy in the movie theater while watching Beetlejuice. Blade Runner's another one though I can't get too into. Something about
Blade Runner's
I agree with that actually. I couldn't get into Blade Runner as well.
That's like I like that, the whole vibe of that. Both those movies actually. But
Total Recall to me is more my that's
same.
Like yeah,
it's good.
And that movie has like those memorable cinematic, like those scenes where
it's
like,
just the boobs. It's the three boobs. That's
no, the one where he's in the woman's
a single issue motor. You just want a third titty. It's fine.
It's not the three boob lady.
So do I. Okay, more boobs is better.
No, it's not. For me, the memorable scenes obviously are the one where he's outside in Mars and his face and it's going nuts and bulging, and then there's the one where he's in the woman costume trying to get through the travel security, and 3 weeks like that's and then of course there's Cato, whatever the guy in the stomach's name is, like
amazing.
Like those are all super memorable.
Open your mind.
Dune didn't have anything like that to me. It just didn't. It was a good movie, but it didn't have those moments.
Harkonnen, the suicide scene where he has to like float to the top of the screen, the worms themselves, the way the sound would vibrate to bring them up. No, you're objectively wrong. I disagree.
If it was shorter, I'd go back and watch it again, but it's too long.
Okay, what about we can all agree the Fifth Element. That's
yeah. And I gotta say, I gotta say, Fifth Element's great, but also gotta say,
there we go.
As someone who knows nothing about the books or whatever, doing the book or whatever, I will say something that took me completely out of it was one of the fiercest warriors being named Duncan Idaho.
But he was so badass as he is in everything. Come on.
Not really. They kind of off him pretty quickly. And spoiler alert, sorry, but he's not so badass actually.
I
couldn't. It sort of took me out of it because then I'm sitting next to my wife and I'm like, Duncan Idaho. What other warriors are in this universe? We got Chris Connecticut out there. We got what? Owen, Ohio. What do we got?
So
Allen, Alaska.
That's funny. So the runtime for the movie, just looked it up, 6 hours 12 minutes. I'm just kidding. No, it's 2:46. 2 hours 46 minutes
for the new one.
So it's pretty standard. Pretty standard for Hollywood movies these days. So not particularly long. I still haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon because
not long.
It's
that's
great.
so long. I really want
Killers
to.
of the Flower Moon's really good.
I really want to see it.
I watched that in one sitting too.
Did you?
Yeah, it was.
I'm gonna have to break it up if I'm gonna watch it.
Any movie over 2 hours, I'm not watching in one sitting. It's not happening.
Yeah, it's hard, man.
I will say there were certain parts that I felt like they needed to be more forward with. Some of it was some of the scenes come off to me a little too subtle, where I think they needed to sort of beat the audience over the head a little bit harder in some of the scenes. I also wish they introduced some of the characters earlier so that we knew just how many, bad guys there were in terms of the people who were behind Robert De Niro's character. We sort of get this one scene where everyone is... all the bad guys are in the room together, and some of the people were meeting for the first time there. And this is towards the end of the movie, and it's like we should have been seeing these people much earlier. It wasn't a perfect movie, but it was really good.
Okay,
The Irishman was better. I thought. I did think The Irishman was.
That was a great movie.
That was a horrible movie.
No,
what?
It was great.
That was a great movie. It took me like 3 sittings, but it was a good movie.
That shit was so fucking boring. Are we serious? Are we talking about the same movie? I've got to look this up because that.
What are you? Great movie.
Let me see. The Irishman.
I saw someone mention True Detective season 4 in the chat. I would say True Detective season 4 was fantastic.
I just finished it last weekend. Yeah, it was really good.
You guys like The Irishman? I know I'm in the minority here, but I just don't understand it.
It was really
Go back
good.
and watch it again. Sit down for another 5 hours and watch that movie.
Why am I watching these boomers like LARP as gangsters? Like, shut the fuck up and go put on Jeopardy or some shit. Like, I don't know.
What the hell? You just hate old people. I knew it. You're ageist. It is confirmed. You can't even watch a movie with old people.
I just thought it was so boring.
Just because they were old. Oh my god. We have an ageist host.
I will say the reaction to True Detective season 4, I don't get.
I am surprised. It's like super mixed reaction
since season 1. The best season since season 1. Season 1 was really good. I don't know.
I remember enjoying 3, but I forget what happened, so I probably didn't like it that much.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, really original, something really different. The acting in it was fantastic.
Which show?
Jodie Foster's fantastic.
I thought the one who plays his partner, I forgot her name. She is really. I didn't know who I didn't know who she was previously, and I looked her up, and she used to be a boxer, and she went into acting, and she's really good. I thought.
Yeah, they were all great in that. All right, I think that's your super chat.
Yep, Tunbosin Oyenuga with a super chat. Dems, screw progressives and their tangible grievances we can solve. Also, Dems, now where are my mythical moderates we struggle to find every 4 years? Don't worry, when the Republican primary ends, all those Haley voters are going right to Biden, obviously, right?
Yep. They're not going to fall in line and vote for Trump. They're going to go straight to Biden.
Oh my god, that shit! I saw some people thinking that, like this is not the same as the uncommitted vote, you morons.
No.
Jesus Christ.
It happens every time too. Even in like the Senate races as well. They think, well, if I get a little bit fascist on the border, I'm going to get those Republicans. Gotcha, Republican, and then they lose. And it's just every single time.
Still alive, $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Says this is for anyone on the panel. Realistically, how safe do you think people in safe blue states are if Trump were to win?
It depends on the policy, really.
Yeah, this is a question for, I guess, you two, since you're in safe.
I mean,
what do you think?
the question is dependent on what kind of presidency we get with Trump. If it's the same as we saw 4 years ago, from 2016 to 2020. I mean, we're gonna get the same presidency.
I think it could
also be worse. It could also be worse in terms of like him just deciding he doesn't even want to follow like the rules he did follow. Like
he's too comfortable now.
Right.
Yeah, I think that one thing that really worries me in particular is their insistence that they can ban gender affirming care via the executive. Like that's what they want to do with Project 2025. Trump is saying that he wants to basically do this unilaterally. So that's the one thing that if you're in a blue state, you're not going to get a lot of protection from if he does follow through with that, which I assume that he will. So that's one thing for sure that really worries me. Another thing is with reproductive health care, even though they're kind of shying away from their position and hiding the ball when it comes to a national abortion ban, they still want it. Like we have to be clear about that. So yeah, it's a lame duck Trump I think could be really damaging.
Like, I'm not going to say he's not going to do that because we don't know. He very well could. Like, the question isn't like what he won't or will not do because it's a complete wild card.
Right.
It could be like it was where we did get through it, obviously. Not everybody did. I mean, a lot of people died along the way, especially in 2020. But, I mean, a lot of people died under Biden, too, because of COVID. So, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be one of those situations where it's like.
People are still dying.
Yeah, exactly. It's the frog in the pot, and if you slowly turn up the heat, you're not going to feel it boiling. And I think a lot of it, assuming he doesn't like actually try to stay in office, which no guarantees there, like after he leaves, we'll feel the ramifications of his next 4 years for a very long time afterwards. In the same way that we still are from the first, 4 years with the Supreme Court, the judiciary, the regulatory changes that he would institute, like it'll be felt for a while. So, I mean,
he could very well have another Supreme Court pick if he wins. I mean, it's totally plausible.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If not likely.
I mean, and I would envision if he wins, Alito and Thomas may even consider retirement. And then there you go. You have literally like almost an entirely conservative Supreme Court. Every single vote will be what, like 7-2 eventually?
Yeah.
Because he would ostensibly also probably replace at least one liberal as well. I mean, I've heard that.
I mean, Sandra Sotomayor is getting up there.
Yeah, I've heard she's had medical issues too. I think Sotomayor is the most progressive. Well, until Ketanji Jackson was on the court, but
I agree.
But in terms of
that was a great pick. That's like probably the best thing Biden's done.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right. She's good. She's really good. But like in terms of like Supreme Court justices who've been on long enough, I guess, to have like made big decisions. Sotomayor has been the most progressive before Ketanji Jackson. So I like her, but she's probably gonna either retire or have to step down because of medical issues. Eventually, she's not young. I mean, I'm not saying this to be ageist. I'm not Mike, but it's the truth. It's just the truth.
Hey, I love her. Okay,
if someone's old and except for the Supreme Court. For the Supreme Court, I do think once you hit a certain age, just because of the possibility of you just dying of old age, I think you should not be in the Supreme Court. Like you should step down once you get to a certain point. But like for any other politician, I think as long as you're healthy, you could and of sound mind, which unfortunately certain Democrats of an age aren't. Then I think you should be allowed to run for as long as you want. No question about it, except the Supreme Court because the stakes are too high there.
Chat.
Is this for me again? It is. CWO2 with a super chat. I keep getting reported for hate speech from the most immoral people. YouTube makes it near impossible to type. I've been... Is this a joke?
Is this a joke or what this is? I don't know. Here you go.
Is this also for me? Yeah, Tunbosin, the super chat. Diddy equals R. Kelly plus Suge Knight. I honestly don't know enough about what's going on with.
I can answer this one because I know a lot about this combination.
Lance,
of.
Sorry, I think your wrong mic is on.
Oh, my wrong mic. Okay, then skip it. But I'll figure that out. I don't know why. I only have one mic.
Extremely loud, but I don't.
It's working. It's just very loud.
Oh, okay. I don't know why that happened. All right, I'll figure this out.
All right. Whatever. Who cares about
step back from your mic. Push the mic back a little bit, and then just talk. It's too loud. Like it's nothing. Oh, you just shut it off. Push the mic back, and everything's okay. And he's completely mute.
Oh yeah, now it's just mute. Oh, now he's just.
Oh, he's gone.
All right. It doesn't matter. It's not really important.
Charlie DeGinmer with $5. Thank you so much. Fairly positive Knowles likes the he/him bars at work with a suspicious amount of enthusiasm. I mean, yeah, I can see him being bisexual for sure. Tokyo Hans with 500 yen. Thank you. Let's Clockwork Orange Binder with gay porn.
I don't think I'd be into it, but I mean, I know I wouldn't be into it, but I'm not. It's not like I'm gonna be tortured. I just wouldn't get off on it.
You just be very bored.
It's not
very
like,
bored.
Yeah.
Is this okay?
Like I'm not gonna go like, ew,
okay.
I can't take it. Okay. No, I'm just gonna be like, all right, like.
You gotta have your eyes open, like pride open, and you sit there for hours, and yeah,
you'll hear me snore with my eyes wide open.
Clockwork Orange Binder with gay porn.
Jacqueline, I want to say Leach, $6.99 super chat, Canadian. Thank you. Brian Mulrooney died today. He did. He wrote Recessions That Sacrificed the Middle Class, and he nearly killed healthcare.
Yeah, he was a massive piece of shit.
Anti-apartheid.
Who is that? Who's Brian?
Former Prime Minister.
He was a Prime Minister of Canada around the time of Margaret Thatcher and Reagan, and now he joins them. So enjoy. Thanks for trying to fucking do your worst and spreading neoliberalism in Canada, as well as fucking being pretty fucking firmly anti-union. The only good thing I think you can say about him, unlike the other two, is that he actually sometimes would listen to Indigenous groups in Canada and take some of their criticisms seriously, and he was better than his contemporaries for that. So it's yes, human beings are complicated, but fuck him, fuck all the.
He was also better on the environment, but that's
yes, he was better on the environment.
In terms of that era, that was not really a big controversy back, in the early 90s.
Didn't Reagan have a couple obviously fuck Reagan and to the
I think they worked together on the was it the ozone thing or whatever the hell it was back then. But they actually put together something to combat real environmental issues back then. And now it's just like a right wing.
Oh wait, they did the Montreal Protocol. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow, that was actually a really big deal. Yeah, Nixon did the EPA over here, so those.
I know that's the other fucked up thing is that by today's standards, a lot of those people who they venerate, or not Nixon but Reagan, right? Those same people now would be called neo-Marxist cucks.
Commies.
They're trying to do,
And he was anti-apartheid, so that's something else.
Yeah, so was Biden when it came to South Africa. He
Yeah,
was actually
that's
quite
right.
eloquent on the subject.
Right. He was great. It doesn't make any sense.
Jay Kaz, thank you for your $5 super chat. Says I was rushing home to tune in to Leftist Mafia on my PC and slammed into my left one on my chair. Am I reading this wrong? Dedication can be painful. Left what? Left.
You know.
one.
You know.
Oh, is that what Jay Kaz is saying?
I'm sorry, Jay Kaz.
Well, I'm sorry that we got you so excited that it made you less excited, I suppose.
I personally like that he was so excited to tell us this that he paid $5 to do it.
Right?
Jay Cass is a very generous supporter. He's a great. I mean, I'm assuming gender here, but Jay's a great person. Great person.
Oh, as a ball haver, I don't understand why it has so much power. Why is it so crippling to get your balls fucking even lightly licked, you know?
Because you need them to procreate.
I mean, think about how weird it is. Like, they're so delicate that God was like, I have to put them in a little sack and let them hang because they can't go anywhere. Like, they're too delicate.
I've never get calling people pussies in a derogatory way when I'm like, but pussies shape skulls, right? But like, call someone a testicle, they shrink with like the breeze or water if it's cold. Like, call them a testicle if they're being cowardly. Like, for sure.
Yeah. But hold on, Mike, what you said makes no sense though. Like, they're in an incredibly vulnerable place. Like, you could have thrown them in our body, so they had the right up behind a rib cage or something. Why are they hanging there?
That's true.
Like, you have a shield. Yeah,
like our balls should be in our rib cage. Yeah,
I guess
that's what I want them. Yeah, I don't want them hanging
We wouldn't want our
loosey-goosey.
kidneys to hang from like the side. I don't know.
I feel like
Literally,
there's
you
probably a
play
reason.
any
There has to be a reason.
God was just
play
like, you
any
know what?
sport.
I don't know.
Because
Evolution
evolution would have.
Yes, no.
Evolution would have fixed the problem if there wasn't a reason.
They can change temperatures. That's the reason. They can descend. That's the reason your testicles descend, and they can become cooler outside of the cover of your body because it has to be maintaining the same temperature for the spermatozoa, etc.
Right. And that's how
they
were able to tell the temperature back in the caveman days. They'd be like, 72 degrees. That's we're hanging all day, folks. It's gonna be a warm one.
That's how they told time too. They just looked down at their balls and see how the sunlight was hitting.
That's how they kept track of how old they were too, based on how
long
they're like the rings on the when you cut open the tree bark.
You asked for the ball discourse, we gave it to you.
Mike Thompson with a
I
super
apologize
sticker.
to any females watching and
or Rebecca.
ball
Thank you,
havers.
Mike.
Or non-ball havers.
T King with a super chat. SoundCloud needs to sponsor this podcast. 2 million, please. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, did you guys see that?
We're ready.
CNN Dana Bash hosted this right-wing podcast made up of a bunch of former Mitch McConnell aides and that guy Comfortably Smug, who's the one who in 2012 spread misinformation purposefully during Hurricane Sandy to the point where like emergency services and Con Ed had to come out and say this guy's lying. We had to spend time to look into this during the hurricane, and they had them on the show today to promote their podcast. And their podcast is called Ruthless, which they've joked about how and they literally launched the podcast right after RBG
Wait,
died.
I'm sorry, Mitch McConnell has a podcast? Is that what you're saying?
No. His former aide.
Oh, his aides. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be a great listen.
Oh, yeah, a lot of white noise, a lot of gaps.
Lots of phlegm.
So I mean, literally, like anyone who's not doing left-wing politics apparently gets either lots of money or lots of press and attention.
Yes.
That's why so many people switch to the right. That's why there's so many grifters, because this is not where the money is.
Can you name one grifter who went from right to left? No, because they don't exist. Because why would they? Why would they do that? There's no money here.
Baked Alaska tried and realized there was no money in it and immediately went far right afterwards. He tried though. He tried for a little while.
I didn't know
He was, like,
this.
for a month.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Baked Alaska tried for a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He tried doing like I was an ex-alt writer. I'm converted. I was racist. I was like, now I'm like learning about like Marxism and stuff like that. And everyone was like, "Fuck you!"
Even the biggest, like most popular, even like financially successful left-wing podcast, Chapo Trap House, never got the attention that like you would see from literally any other podcast.
That's true.
You know,
were any of them ever on any mainstream news ever? Like, you know, these right wing freaks
maybe
get
like,
invites all the time. Like,
right, like they probably like I'm sure I read write-ups in like the Washington Post, New York Times, or something like that, like a single profile or something.
Yeah,
but never were they ever asked to come on and share their analysis or an opinion. Like
there's Sam Cedar.
Sam
Cedar does sometimes. He gets mainstream media attention for a lefty.
Yeah,
he's something to point towards.
he was on radio.
Same with
I think that's why he was kind of like grandfathered in because he
Hassan
was
does
on
not
Air
get
America.
mainstream attention. What are you
He's been on BBC. He was recently, I believe, this year, speaking about his charity and fundraising millions of dollars for Palestinians.
He's been on.
He was on Piers Morgan,
the LA local news channel, whatever the hell that is.
He's been on Vice. He's been the subject of Vice documentaries.
Yeah, but that's all because he was he made the news. They were covering him. Like they never had him on, like and giving us the analysis of how this is going, or how this election was, or how this policy is. No, because they talk to these people when they are the story, so they're forced to talk to them because how do you do the story and not talk to them? Like Hassan had to raise money, right, for him to talk about that issue.
Well, in the case of Piers Morgan, he's just on there to basically Piers Morgan wanted to debate him and his takes and the fact that he called him, like a British sponge or something like that. It was funny though.
Matt Lipton, $5 super chat. Thank you. Says autistic man here to chime in that anti-vax is based on hating autistic people.
I would recommend H Bomber Guys, a measured response on vaccines. If you want to learn the history of that, it's excellent, entertaining, really funny, and yeah, absolutely, it's very fucked up that
it's an ableist movement
still exist.
Mm-hmm.
But
Chris,
think of what that's rooted in, as in like being autistic is something inherently very, very bad or terrible, and we have to avoid this by not taking these vaccines, which literally save lives. Like we used to die all the time en masse from these kind of things that we can now stop. Polio, measles, like we've come so far. I don't get thrown.
Come so far, fall so hard. Yeah, it's really depressing. Chris, thank you for the $5. This Mitch McConnell news reminds me. I once met Mitch at the zoo. More specifically at the turtle exhibit. Okay, very, very, very cool. Yeah, we didn't talk about this, but Mitch McConnell is retiring. I have a video about it if you all want to see my thoughts. I thought it was very beautiful to see Good Riddance trend as he made his tearful announcement. It was really it was what you would expect for somebody like Mitch McConnell. But yeah, I love Mitch McConnell. I hope he doesn't die ever.
You would be really funny if this guy is like. You'd be funny if this guy. It'd be really funny. Pull up that last super chat again. Imagine this poor guy's telling the truth, and he actually ran into Mitch McConnell at the turtle exhibit at the zoo. And he's got this nice photo of him and Mitch McConnell sitting on the back of this giant ass tortoise, and you guys are all taking this as a big old joke. Okay,
that would be a viral image if that ever happened. That'd be huge.
Can you imagine Mitch McConnell just like looking at an exhibit? I can't imagine him doing human things. It's so difficult to me to imagine him like taking a shit, just doing anything that normal people do. Like I think he's actually not human.
Why are you trying to imagine him taking a shit?
I don't know that.
It's how you humanize. Everybody poops. Okay, David?
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Common denominator for all of us human beings. No,
have you tried to imagine me taking a shit? I'm afraid now.
No.
Everyone!
That's like your way to like to clarify in your mind if someone's human or not. Can I imagine them taking a shit?
It's like it's kind of how you bring yourself, or I guess ground yourself rather. If this rich person, you're kind of deifying them, just remember they take nasty stinky shits, they fart, they're as gross as all of us. You know what I mean? So that's how you can kind of bring yourself back to reality, in my opinion. It's there's better options, I think, but
except for Kim Jong-un, I think he apparently does not defecate.
Right, he doesn't have a butthole, so he can't. So
it evaporates within him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe this is for Bender.
Or it just stays in there, which
that's why he gets bigger and bigger every year. That's why he hasn't lost any weight.
He's got like 40 years of shit in him. Andrelin de Bagshagahi with a super chat. De Bagshagahi is pronounced Bashor.
De Bagshagahi. That's it. The way you deliver that line is
pronounced Bashor.
It's like you're it's like you're boxing or something. You're just or doing
before
karate.
I was having
before
I was having trouble with the pronunciation, but then I really got comfortable with saying Bag Shakahi, and now you just completely ruin it. All right, Bashor.
For sure. It's Scottish. Oh, it's Scottish. That's awesome.
Michael Weaver, $10 super chat. Thank you, Michael. Says, I'm basically prepared for Trump to become president again. I don't believe that we will see any change from Biden on Gaza. Biden is going to lose the youth vote and Trump will be president. Fascism reigns. I mean, let's hope not.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong, Michael, but I'm in the same headspace as you. I won't lie.
Environmental Coffee House with a super chat. You guys are on fire tonight. Pleasure commiserating with you last night, Matt. Oh, thank you so much.
Ooh.
I was on Left Past 10 yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was a great time. You could check it out on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Mappinder. It's like a leftist Mafia-esque panel group, a bunch of great leftist streamers. Definitely go check it out.
I appreciate them saying that we're on fire tonight because I'm getting very self-conscious because the comments are pointing out the one show where Rebecca's not here, we're talking about balls and shit, and we have to rein it in.
That was in the super chats.
Yeah, to be fair, she'd probably be
That's
better
true.
at this point.
We're gentlemen for the first.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Oh, is this for me too? Jeez. Looney
Is every
Tunes
chat before you read it
9000.
going to be, oh, is this for me?
Looney Tunes 9000 with a super chat. I can do impersonations. Something letter hack Jake Sandy of Environmental Coffee House and Andrea Rovinsky didn't say to you. For example, Andrea herself. All right.
I love impersonations. Okay.
This is for Rebecca from 10 Busan Onega. Is that how you say it?
Oyanuga.
Oyanuga. There you go.
I've met Tumboson. He's come to He's come to live Majority Port shows. He's come to when I did the live Scam Economy show. Him and Omega, who's usually in the chat. Omega Shenron.
Okay, very cool. JCast with $5. Just wanted to give a status update. I've reached level 17 booty hole, but still have a long way to reach level 99. Okay, what were we talking about last week where we got on this? I don't remember now, but
I must have left by this point. I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, do you remember, Matt? Maybe the chat can fill me in. I'm blanking.
I don't actually. I do know the previous chat from JCast was about his balls. So
okay.
I mean that was just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it's as far back as I remember.
I don't remember. I'm sorry, but congratulations, JCast. You keep on. You keep grinding. Asa Rosa with $5. Did you see Jon Stewart on Palestine last Monday? Some people said he both sides did online, but I'm like, be patient, he'll get to it. Yeah, you know what? I think that it wasn't as long and comprehensive as I wanted it to be, and I can see the argument from people who both sides did. But in terms of like the standards for mainstream media, I was pretty satisfied because the bar is so low. And there were a couple of really great moments in there that I think
John Oliver did better, but I think it's pretty clear what his position is, and his language he's using is very strong. He's basically, I'd say, reporting on it the same way he did back when he had his show full time. Because it's very similar, right? It's definitely this is asymmetrical. One side is clearly the imposing factor. There's a strong case for apartheid, stuff like that. He's not saying like this is a genocide, but I think that's one of those things that there's a democratization of the term. People should realize one of the things that like the ICJ case, if it does rule, it not only, I mean, it would be massive historically because that means every country that has signed on to it is duty bound to stop it at that point. That's what you have to do. If they rule that this is genocide, then like all of us, Canada, America, we are all duty bound to stop genocide. Like that's the agreement, the treaty we've all signed. So democratizing, like Emma Vigeland put it really well, democratizing it is good. It is the necessary thing. It is a step people need to take in their conversation and everything to be able to normalize it, so that people recognize it for what it is.
Yeah, and one thing that I think he was doing was trying to probably appeal to normies, which I think there is some value in that, right? Like the first couple of shows, he got a lot of shit from the libs who watch him. So I think he was trying to make it digestible for them. So I think I get the sense that he kind of withheld a little bit. I don't really like the interview portion. It was okay, but like the focus wasn't necessarily what I had hoped. But there was a great moment that I think that was useful. He said basically like, Biden is telling them to stop, but he keeps giving them weapons, and that's like your Coke dealer giving you an 8-ball and saying, don't keep yourself up all night or don't stay up all night or something. I think like the way he's able to explain it, that is going to resonate with people who like didn't think of it that way. So there's still value in it, more positive than negative. But yeah, I agree. Jon Stewart's was better, but it was still good overall.
Or John Oliver's.
Yeah, I'm sorry, John Oliver.
I have not seen this episode yet, but I saw this first 2 episodes. I think he's like the same as he ever was. I'm really enjoying his return to the show so far.
Yeah, it is.
It made me realize
very necessary.
Right, like he's can't be replicated. He's certainly
no.
Right.
No, he's the GOAT, right? He pretty much like invented that genre of
like literally that first
news show. Yeah.
Right, that first episode back, it was totally like, oh my god, A, he hasn't lost a step, and B,
no,
he makes
at
everyone,
his age too.
I laughed out loud several times.
Multiple times. I was like, oh my god, is he talking to the camera during that whole thing?
But also,
I was like, oh my god, John, you're back.
He makes everyone else who did it though look really bad too. Like no one even was on anywhere near his level. Even what's his face who did it for years. I'm having a mental block right now. Yeah, Trevor
Stephen
Noah
Colbert?
never.
He was bad.
Trevor Noah.
I could not get. I know a lot of people liked him. I could not get into.
He was just a hack.
I didn't watch him. I watched John Oliver and Hassan Minhaj are the basically the only two I think who really took the mantle. It was John Oliver and Hassan.
Yeah, the problem with Trevor Noah is that he was much more deferential to like the Democratic Party establishment. Whereas Jon Stewart, he pulled no punches, right? Like and I talked about this in my first video about Jon Stewart's return. That like I gave Trevor Noah a chance, but like he was just too much of a hack. Like when progressives were criticizing Obama for like the Wall Street money, as soon as he got left office, he was saying, "Oh, make that money, Obama." Fuck what they're saying. It's like, okay, no, like if you're just going to do propaganda for Democrats, I'll just tune into MSNBC. You're just doing a funny version of MSNBC, and it's not even that funny. Like, it just
that's why I
good.
could not get into it at all. No.
Yeah.
All right. I only got 4 left. I'm going to hit them off because it is 11 p.m. on the East Coast. I know that means nothing for Matt Binder, but for someone like me,
11 p.m. Oh my
that means a lot.
11
and then
p.m.
let me read some too because I only have a few.
Yes, I got 3, and then I'm going to jump.
Okay.
Michael Weaver, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, without a doubt, Israel is committing a genocide against Palestinians. Biden will likely lose, and Trump will make things worse. Everywhere, be ready. You're very optimistic, Michael. That's nice to hear your optimism.
Very us
hopeful
Michaels?
chats you're sending us today.
Us Michaels are
His
so
previous
cynical.
one was also very dire. Let's try to stop that from happening. Michael, again, thank you so much for your $5. Also, the way liberals think about all protests about Gaza is that it's, quote, the youth going crazy, hence the hotline and mental illness connection. Yeah, people that
I agree with that.
Are of a certain political persuasion and maybe age tend to not really understand. Last one is Narrator, who I'm trying to find because they have a lot of chats here. Narrator, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Says TikTok voice. I'm a liberal. I don't support genocide. I just oppose any method of opposing genocide that might make me uncomfortable.
Literally,
yes.
Narrator.
Nailed it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the last two are Morbius Dragon with no chat, but it's a little super sticker. Thank you. And Kowalski. If I can find Kowalski's, there's a bunch of, maybe we can decode his message here. Here we go. Tractor, fire, person walking, a chef, a taco, and an angel. Well, I have no idea what this means, but I like the taco. I enjoy tacos, so.
I know what it means. I'm very good at decoding Kowalski's tweets. Basically, he got a little incident. It was a shitstorm with the tractor. So he just walked away for the day, and he made some tacos, and then that put him in a better mood. It lifted his spirits.
You know what? I think you nailed it. Yes, you got it.
I don't know. I think maybe you could also be read as his tractor caught fire. He tried to escape to Taco Bell. And the taco he had combined with the tractor fire killed him, and he's dead now. He's in heaven. I don't know.
Well, thank you, Kowalski, with your super chat from heaven. So, or maybe hell, depending on how you lived your life. I don't know. Thank you. Good night, everybody. See you all next week.
Take care, David. Enjoy Final Fantasy VII.
I'm actually, I may not be getting it. It's out now. I want to finish Persona 3 Reload, which is
that's fair.
I can't justify going two JRPGs at once. It's not. And then Unicorn Overlord, which is I really enjoyed the demo, so I may actually grab that. Yeah, a lot of RPG in my future. But good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay, Lance, you have a couple too?
Oh, yeah. I'll read a couple quick ones. The Lumpen Lodge, thank you for the $5. Hi, folks. Please peep about my secular addiction recovery and criminal justice revolution from a leftist perspective. I need solidarity. I'll have to look into it. I'm not familiar with it, but thank you very much for the $5. And then the Lumpen Lodge with another $4 dono. A bayonet is a weapon with a worker on both ends. Thank you very much to the Anti-Corporatist for being a member for 2 months. Thank you to Tokyo Hands for the 500 yen. Lance's bisexual lighting is finally turning the whales gay. It's true. That was the whole point. Lump in with the other $5 dono. I can direct you to a video of Alex Jones threatening to out Rogan after they had a night out on the town with Charlie Sheen. They were smoking meth. For real. Do you guys know what that is? Is that true?
I don't know. I don't my gaydar does not budge for Joe Rogan. I don't think he's gay.
Oh, at all. Yeah, no, same. Yeah. No, not at all. No. Yeah.
So if he engaged in homosexual activity, I would still maintain that he's straight. It was just like an accident or something.
Oh, like as if they were high on meth and they just wanted to have a little night.
They're just high and they were like
experimenting, little curious. All right,
high curious, but still straight.
Wilder things have happened. I think what is it? Bowie and the lead singer of the Rolling Stones ended up fucking just out of curiosity or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Or there's some rumor to that extent. Anyways, Soul Life, thank you very much for the incredibly generous 5 gifted subs. That's really, really nice of you. Robbie H with the $5. Is the whale sex still gay? It's just practice. Asking for a friend.
If you're gay, you're gay. So if they're just practicing but they don't like it, then they're not gay. You could do a gay act and not be gay. I've done straight acts before, and I certainly wouldn't consider myself straight. So.
Jay Cast with the $5. They're mad because they really want Christian porn. It's the Lord's porn. That is true. Narrator with the $10. Don't let anti-doomerism lull you into a false sense of security. The other side is larger than you think. Get ready for more violence than you imagine. And most people will do nothing but look away. I think in the U.S. it's scary because there's a lot of far-right militias that are very heavily armed and very heavily trained. And if there ever was an actual legitimate civil war that broke out, that would probably be where I would intelligence in Canada, if you read CSIS reports, they're actually considering a civil war in the United States to be a potential threat, and they have started identifying that there might be initial conflicts between police and far-right militias, right-wing militias, white supremacist militias, which is obviously scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the final $2, Perry Fire. Tell Canada sorry, but we have a better farmer than you. No problem. all you guys, go nuts.
Alrighty, so
we'll
try to pick up where David left off.
Oh, you're sticking around though, Lance. Great, awesome. I thought you were reading it all to get out of here.
Oh no,
I very cool.
Nice. See, Mike thought the same thing. Mike thought you were sticking around.
I love that.
Surprise!
Wanda with a super chat. I'm going to inquire about uncommitted voting in Maryland. Yes, please do. Again, everyone should be voting uncommitted in the primary.
Yeah.
It does not hurt Joe Biden one iota if you're worried about him in the general against Trump. It sends a message that says, if you don't change on this, you're going to have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
With the intent, the hope that he does change on this, not that he's not. We're not hoping just to send him a message so that he walks into November and goes, "All right, let's lose."
Yeah, a lot of people want him, actually want him to change because they don't want Trump to win. They just want him to do a policy change so that way.
Every single one who went out there and voted uncommitted believes that. That's why you went out and voted uncommitted. If you just didn't care about him, if you just didn't care about Joe Biden at all, you wouldn't have even gone out to vote. The whole point of going out to vote is to send that message.
Mm-hmm.
Duke of Bread with a super chat. Fascism equals ethnic religious hyper-nationalism. Zionism equals question mark. Zionism is a fascist ideology inherently. Thumbs up emoji. People need to understand this. Oh, absolutely. Zionism is a nationalist, it's a right-wing nationalist project. I mean, the whole point of it
for an ethno-state
is a national, yeah, an ethno-state, it's completely, yes, everything we just said. Absolutely. I mean, it's, by saying this, you're basically saying that. By saying you're a Zionist, you're basically saying that. That's who you are. Wanda with another super chat. Great Leftist Mafia crossover with Left Past 10 last night. Thank you, Wanda. J Cass with a super chat. Were those sperm whales by chance? J Cass, what in the world is going on with you tonight?
It's a good night.
J-Cast always keeps us entertained.
You got the balls, you got the level 10, 16, 19, what was it, butthole, you got the sperm whales.
I genuinely cannot remember what I vaguely remember the conversation, but I don't remember what.
Oh, it was the gay whales.
Last week.
Oh yeah, I don't remember at all.
Yeah, we're talking about.
Oh, are you talking about short? Oh, are you talking about short stack goblin thick? Because fucking Binder loved that.
He must have said it like 10 it was something else.
Short stack. No, it was something else though. There was an additional. It flowed better. There was something we're missing here.
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna remember in the chat. Someone's gonna tell us exactly.
Yeah. You've got a couple from Foresto.
Foresto with a super chat. I know the Diddy story is serious, but Mike opening with "It's explosive, there's so much" was the perfect innuendo to open with. Yes, I'm going to hell. Have no idea what the reference is there, but okay.
Yeah, I did not intend to pun that. Pun unintended.
And Foresto with another super chat, I think, right? Coming up next. Do you want to pull it up?
Yes.
Male whale bussy is called wussy.
It's true.
True.
It's science. Science is.
Thank you.
Yeah, whatever you want it to be.
Oh, everybody in the chat is letting us know exactly what it was now. Thank you, RJ Webb.
Short stack thick like a goblin.
Short stack thick like a goblin. That flows so well. Short stack thick like a goblin.
J-Cast just reminded me. No, so if we were talking about sneezing and farting at the same time, and in order to not what was it? God, something about trying to hold it in, and in order to hold in a fart when you're sneezing, you have to level up your butt. It's coming back to me, but I'm still. It's been a week, so I purge all the information weekly, so I'm getting closer to remembering. Okay. Okay, so these were David Dole. So let me for Michael Weaver. I might, if it's redundant, then forgive me. I'm just kind of going one after another. Okay, this one is for me from Rimru Tempest, the Slime Dragon with $15. Thank you so much. That's a very generous super chat. Hey, Mike, let's say that you were running for president and by the grace of something, you beat Joe Biden in the primary. Who would you pick as VP? P.S. Love your videos. Oh, well, thank you so much.
First of all, you are running for president, and you do already have a VP. It's me. Wait, did everyone forget about that?
So I would never want to run for public office ever, but if I had to pick and I could choose anyone that I wanted to be my VP pick, it would be probably Stephanie Kelton. Just off the top of my dome.
Just leaving me dry? All right. Sure.
Or Matt Binder would be first choice. Second choice, Stephanie Kelton. Third choice would be Richard Wolff.
You never gonna run for office, Mike? Never gonna run for office, Mike? Yeah.
No.
Lance, you ever gonna run for office?
No, I'm not of the mind that podcasters and entertainers should do that. To be totally honest with you, I think they should promote people who do and promote people who are going to work hard to change and fix society. But if our job has been joking about cum for a fucking hour, I
mean, I think anyone should be able to run for office. Anyone should be allowed.
Are you gonna run? Are we hearing is this Binder 2028 Project 2028?
Not running for president, but I've thought about it. I thought about it.
What have you? Awesome. Hey, I will promote your campaign. What do you?
I think it's something that if I did do though, it would be further into the future. There's not many jobs that you can start a career late in your life and being a politician is one of them. So I could pretty much,
It's true.
I've thought it out where I could do everything I want.
You can start at
in
80.
my youth.
It doesn't matter.
Right, I can do everything I want in my youth, and like maybe when I'm in like my 50s or 60s, I'll throw my hat in the ring for a few years. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, Archangel with $5. Mike, how do you guys think of the IDF attacking the food truck and creating a massacre? I came in late to your show. If you've discussed this already, yeah, we did discuss it already. We talked a lot about
horrifying.
Israel, yeah, but it's very, very disturbing for sure.
I have not in any way, shape, or form normalized or found a way to properly process the regular morning cycle of looking and scrolling through my phone to catch up on social media and seeing a more horrifying concept than I ever thought possible that tops the one I had seen the night before in video form. That
Right.
to me in the mornings has been so weird and jarring, and sometimes I burst out crying, or I scream, or I'm like fucking furious, or I'm just upset, or I'm just like it's one of those things where like I never thought I would like think of this happening, let alone watch it. The watch it part where you're just like I can't unsee that now. That like again that was one of those things where it's like shooting.
So many images have been burned into my mind. The cries have been burned into my mind. There's one of a Palestinian boy where his room got destroyed and he's crying. That one is still like I could hear his voice. You know, it's hard to process these kinds of things. So yeah.
For me, Archangel with a super chat. Matt, not sure if it's been brought up before, but bring on Emma. She would give the Leftist Mafia a good discussion. She's been on before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has she?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll have her back.
Be wrong, but
Emma,
I'd love to have her back. She's awesome.
Absolutely.
Emma is great. Emma is great.
We
gotta
love
have her
Emma.
back on. Yes. Yep.
Oh yeah.
We have
pro Emma.
another one.
J Cash with the super chat. When are you all inviting Katie Halper on the show? We should invite Katie Halper.
I don't have Katie Halper's contact, so if y'all.
Oh yeah, she actually was on my Twitch stream. Yeah, but
cool.
We'd love to have her on.
Yeah, for sure.
I once ran into her in person at the 2016 DNC.
Did you really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Archangel with $5.
We were both there as Hillary Clinton delegates.
That makes sense. Mike, read the book first. It is quite good, and do it with Audible. The reader is very good.
I got the book behind me. It is really good.
Oh, okay. I haven't really done a lot of Audible. I feel like whenever I listen to something, it's at the gym, and I try to catch up on like YouTube videos. So I probably just read it because I have time to read before bed every night. But I've got to finish my book series right now, and then I'll get into it. But I will check it out, Archangel. So thank you for the recommendation.
Tokyo Hans, Dune books are shorter than the movies. Are they?
I'm a pretty avid reader. I haven't read the Dune series. A guy I make YouTube videos with, Dave, he's read all of them, and he's like, so this is a spoiler warning for like the books that will probably never be filmed. But it's like way down to the 6th or 7th book or something. But it's like it becomes unfilmable. It's not like something as it becomes very conceptual, and it's basically about a character turning into a space worm, Nazi fascist overlord of the entire universe. Like it's not the kind of thing that you'd make into like an epic movie, like the first couple books could be, or and are beat adapted kind of thing.
Damn, now I want to read it because that sounds fucking wild.
I know.
Tunbosin with a super chat. Director of Godzilla might make a response to Oppenheimer. Didn't see Oppenheimer, but I'm really interested in the Japanese perspective to it. Yeah,
that would be great.
If you would like a early version of that, watch Sean's video on the dropping of the atomic bomb. The research he did into the morality and the ethics of it.
Okay. I saw that he posted a video about Palestine. I have to watch that too.
His is excellent. It's the ending's kind of hopeful. The one that's really good is Noah Samson's he just put out. It looks like debate clickbait because
I saw that.
Him calling out all the shitty and horrifying stuff Destiny's been saying. But like the whole thing isn't really about that. It's about the ICJ case, and he basically presents it for anyone who hasn't seen like everything that's been put in order with video footage of everything, so you can actually like put like faces and names to places and people and quotes and lays the whole thing out really, really well. It's a good video to share with people who don't understand the severity of what's happening.
Yeah, I agree. I watched that actually. Noah did.
Oh,
great.
okay. So yeah, okay. No.
Yeah. Okay. I think this one is for you, Matt.
Oh wait, it is for me. Narrator with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Narrator. 2023 had the most extrajudicial executions when directed at a community, a terrorist act in 10 years. Crickets from the media on that one after all their crime spree coverage. Cough, TYT. I haven't seen what TYT is. Oh, their coverage on crime spree stuff. Yes, I have seen that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Crime is at like low, like all-time lows, at least here in New York City, which is.
Have you not heard about the roving organized criminal gangs? Many of them immigrants and refugees who are coming and stealing from stores and in numbers they've never seen. These are super predators, Matt.
Right.
Super predators. Come on, they need to be brought to heel.
All right.
C3339409 with $2. Thank you so much. Thank you for your Cummings. I'm guessing referring to the Sean Cummings video. Yeah, lots of people really responded well to that. I hope that people go and follow him. On
I thought it was just about cum.
Yeah, I thought Jay Cass was messaging us from another screen name.
Oh. Go. Almost scrolled up. This is not for me. I think this is for you or David Dole, Matt.
It's not for me.
Okay, must be David Dole. So there's a photo, or I'm sorry, there's a message from Archangel. I see it on our end, but it's retracted in my end. I don't know if they wanted me to share it. Okay, so Archangel, $10. You realize the balls descend through a section of the abdominal wall during fetal development. When you have hernias, it's the intestinal sections coming through that gap, causing intestinal hernias. The way that you described that so vividly, like I imagined all of this. So thank you. Yes, but the true question is pee stored in the balls? And that we don't have an answer to. Science has yet to figure out if that's the case. Okay, let me see where we're at. No message here that I can see.
Not for me either.
Okay. Next one.
Bay Photo with a super chat. Next time, just say, "Oh, is this chat not for David?" Oh, this is in response to David complaining that I kept saying, "Oh, this one's for me." Every time I saw the super chat. I should have done that, Bay Photo.
Koya Demon with $4.99. Thank you so much. Mike, sorry to remind the crew, but it's Do You Condemn Hamas O'Clock? What books and games are you reading, playing at the moment? Yeah, there is a really good video from Some More News. I only got through half of it so far. I'm going to finish it this weekend. His little segment like header was, but do you condemn Hamas? Like over and over. It was like a running bit. It was very, very good. So the books that I'm still reading, the Bobaverse books. I'm on book 3. I'm about halfway through it. I'm working my way through that. And in terms of video games, I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII. Pretty excited about that. The first one there was a lot of padding in it, but I hear the new one is really good. Yeah, how about you all?
I am
playing Fortnite.
Playing through.
That's all I'm playing ever.
Just Fortnite? That's it?
That's all I'm playing with my son. Me and my son play Fortnite.
That's the only game he wants to play, I guess.
No, it's partially me actually. He likes playing other games.
Okay.
I just really enjoy playing Fortnite and playing it with him. We got the battle pass, so we got to level up to unlock all the skins and everything. It's a whole thing. It's a whole process.
What about you, Lance? What are you playing?
Oh, sorry. I have PlayStation Plus's like subscription service. Like it's Netflix for video games. You just get a whole bunch of free games all the time. And I just got The Last of Us remake, so I'm replaying through it while also playing through these are old games. Ghost of Tsushima, I think that, or something like that.
Oh, Ghost of
some
Tsushima,
samurai
it's
game.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good. Oh my god, it's cool. I feel like a badass. I was like, oh man, I love so much of Asian cinema, and especially like older like samurai movies. And I was like, I forgot this feeling where you're just like, oh, you just feel so badass but honorable, but also at the same time like you meditate. And I don't know, it's great.
It's so good, and you always get sidetracked because there's like those gold birds that fly by, and you're like, oh, gotta follow that now. Oh, and by the way, we all condemn Hamas too. That was the first part.
Yes, I condemn Hamas.
Okay.
What you can do with a $5 super chat, left past 10 is the Waffle House to Leftist Mafia's Denny's. Yeah, it was great being on there with you guys last night. It was a lot of fun.
So I'm not American. I've heard Waffle House is the shit. Like apparently it's really, really good. And then Denny's, I have Denny's in Canada, but it's very mid. It's not a good breakfast place compared to other breakfast places.
I've never been to Waffle House actually.
I've never been to Waffle
neither
House
of you
either.
have? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn. What?
There's none around here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen one too.
Hmm.
Let me check really quick if Waffle House is somewhere in Portland.
I assumed it was better.
Waffle House near me. Let's see.
Oh, there is. Oh no, that's not it. It's the waffle
like
window.
Oh,
No,
waffle window.
no. There's none that I can see. Huh. Well, now I want waffles.
It's more of a southern thing. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Denny's is good at 3 a.m. Hell yeah! Shout out to One Topic.
That's
One
true.
Topic at a time.
Yeah. Me and my friends would make when we were young whippersnappers, make these 3 a.m. Denny trips. Back in the day after work. Very fun.
Hell yeah.
Looks like the closest Waffle House to me is there's a few in Jersey.
I was gonna say Jersey. I bet it's in Jersey. Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah. I went to White Castle for the first time ever in New York when I lived there, and it was shit. I don't know if it was just a bad White Castle, but I was like, I watched the movies.
White Castle.
Yeah, I've heard. Everyone's like, White Castle's amazing, and like, it was shit. It was so bad. I don't know if the New York one is particularly shitty, but yeah, it was really, really bad. Shake Shack, far superior in my.
Oh, I've never been there.
New York.
Well, it's
New York fast food.
It's different. You can't compare. They're completely different.
See, I've never had White Castle. Also, I did get the frozen little sliders that they had.
Yeah,
and you put them in the air fryer. They're really good. I stopped buying them though because now there's like a cancer warning on the back. It's something to do with California. I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't need the White Castle sliders. I'm good.
One Topic says it's situationally dependent, the same way movies are great, but only if you watch them on an airplane. Yeah, fair enough. There are airplane movies that are only good in a very small format without swears or titties. Some it's rare. I mean, those things usually enhance films and life in general. But yeah.
Okay, this one is going to be for you, Matt. I'm assuming.
Yes, Dan with a super chat. Matt Lieb was awesome. Would love you guys to invite Katie and Cody from Some More News or Robert Evans from Behind the Back.
I could invite Robert Evans, but I don't. Katie and Cody don't answer Twitter DMs anymore. I think because it's just Nazi land, and I don't blame them. So yeah, anyone who doesn't use Twitter, I do not blame you. It really is fucked up. It's just a fucked up experience. I can't. It's unusable in terms of like I'll still make posts and stuff, but I don't like ever read the comments anymore for the most part because it's so unhealthy and bad for you. And I'm like, oh, that's what Nazis think of what I just said. Cool. A lot of Nazis, it's like Groypers and Nazis and
there's
Nazis.
so many. Of them. It's so many
insane.
Nazis.
It's either Nazis or it's pussy and biobots, like pussy and bio.
I see that so much. God. And you know what? I'm seeing the bots on YouTube as well, where it's like a picture of like a girl in a bikini only. But then they leave like a comment where it's like the storytelling is immaculate. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to report that you're complimenting me, bot. I know you're not real, but no, but like I'm seeing it on YouTube now too. But they're everywhere on Twitter. It's so insane. Yeah.
It's wild. It's so wild.
And I used to like try to block every single one of them, but there's no point because it's like whack-a-mole. Like another one will pop up. So it's like just don't look at it. Don't look at it. Just move on.
I mean, yeah, if you guys can get Cody Shody or Katie,
I would love that.
I love their show. Matt, the huge fan, massive fan.
Yeah, my only in is also on Twitter. We're mutuals, but yeah, they don't use Twitter as much. I think this is you, Matt.
Creflo $50 with a super chat. Lance and the Beards. Oh right,
it's true. I guess I am the only dude who doesn't have a beard on the show.
Smooth faced Lance, baby face Lance.
Well, the quartering called me a fetus.
What?
it was a long time ago. He's like, "This fetus, blah blah blah, stalking me."
I really feel like he's not in a position to criticize anyone's looks ever.
Well, I'm also older than him, so I was like,
"You're older than him? Stop!"
I'm older than him. I am older than him.
He looks terrible.
My God, that's insane to me. Wow. Okay, this one is from Kowalski for me. $2. Thank you, Kowalski. Biden would lose to any Republican but Trump, in my opinion. 100% agree with you. I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah. Right now, at least, for sure.
Yeah. Epiphany 603 with $10. Thank you. Emote portrait alive. Watch IT now.
Watch it now. Yeah, I've seen this
video.
Oh,
watch it now.
Some company basically was able to take still images and turn them into good-looking video where they're like, they just took a literal still image of a celebrity and they were able to turn it into a live-action video. It was impressive to see. It still seems off in certain ways, but I do think it was an impressive video.
Okay, I haven't seen this. I'll check it out.
It does look cool.
Balthazar.
Scary though.
Yeah. Some of this stuff is pretty scary. Balthazar 228 with $10. Thank you so much. Did you guys hear about how Biden is inviting Trump to work together on a border wall bill and telling the other GOP to get in line? He's trying to lose at this point. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier, Balthazar, and basically came to the same conclusion. It's we're watching a train wreck. It's very, very frustrating and demoralizing. It genuinely feels like he wants to lose at this point, where he's just like, look, I don't, my ego won't let me step down, but I don't want to do this anymore. So I don't know. That's cynical, but God, I'm going crazy. Okay. Anyways, Ignar Husky with $5. Thank you, Ignar. A great song that summarizes Dems is Love Me, I'm a Liberal by Phil Ox. I prefer the Jello Biafra / Mojo Nixon collab version, but both are great. I'll have to check that out. I don't think I've heard that. But liberals have been really disappointing me lately. Not that I haven't been disappointed by liberals or expect to not be disappointed by liberals, but the genocide apologia it's a lot. Balthazar with another super chat, $5. Thank you so much. Final Fantasy VII is only praised by people who were 7 to 15 when it came out in 1997 and never played Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger. Yeah, that's one thing that I did notice is that a lot of people were really high on Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I just played through it, and I thought that it was okay. I really liked the story. Right? Yeah, the first part of it.
Did you grow up loving the original FF7? Because it was like one of my biggest experiences. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't have the nostalgia that other people had. I do have FOMO though, but it is a good game. There were just a lot of moments that like it dragged on, but it seems like they're trying to address those complaints with this new one where there's less padding and it's more open world, which I think is really good because there were like some dungeons in the last one. If you call them dungeons, I don't know. We're just like you're doing the same shit, repeat.
Yeah,
repeat.
the sewer ones sucked. For sure.
Yeah, and you're trying to find out what to do, but everything looks the same. That I did not like, but I really I thought the story was really cool. I looked up like the older story and see the differences between that and this one, and I like it a lot. But unfortunately, I don't have the context of like growing up with it. I didn't have PlayStation until I was a little bit older, until I got the Spice Girls game and not Final Fantasy VII. So
oh wow, Spice Girls instead.
That was my first game. Yeah,
damn.
It was a console seller for me.
Was it Spice World the game?
Yeah, the Spice Girls Spice World game. Yes, yeah. It was probably the worst game ever created, but I loved it as a kid. It was very bad.
Spice up your life.
Yeah, you can make your own music videos with them, and then they had like interviews with the Spice Girls and like 240p maybe. It's very bad.
Hell yeah.
Narrator with $10. Thank you, narrator. Imagine growing up in a country whose government is murdering your neighbors. Imagine everything you have being at the cost of your neighbor's blood. Imagine rationalizing that your entire life. Yeah, I mean, like, it would drive a lot of hostility. You know, it's hard to imagine because it's a situation that none of us are in, but it's just very depressing, right? Sorry, let me figure out where I am.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we got a couple for you, Matt.
That's not for
Oh, wait, no, this one is for me, actually. They're out of order on YouTube compared to my back end. I'm sorry. Winners and losers with $5. Hey, just posted clips of Tell the Truth, Jank, a doc I'm making about TYT's union busting and Jank's lies. I worked at TYT, would love some eyes. Okay, well, thank you for the recommendation.
Wow, that seems interesting. I want to see that.
I'll check it out. Let me see. Okay, this one, another one from Balthazar. So I missed another one on my end, unless they really are fucked up. But $5. Thank you so much. Do you ever feel like Canadian food is never poutine context? Never poutine context. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that, but whenever I think of Canadian food, I think of poutine, and poutine is just brilliant. The fact that it's not more popular in the United States, it's very sad.
It's really good. I mean, it's think of the junkiest possible combination of things: gravy, fries, and cheese, all happening at once. Yeah, it's I'm not gonna pretend it's not amazing. But
I don't know why it's not more popular.
Poutine kills. Oh, you guys, you guys have enough fast food in the U.S. You're okay. I've seen the state fairs. I've been to state fairs. It's like everything that can be deep fried will be deep fried, and on a stick, and then plentiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a deep fried Twinkie at the state fair. Actually, I bought two, and me and my nephew split both so we could try like both of them. We both thought it was disgusting.
Oh, really? Was it too?
It was just it was too sweet. Like it was overkill. It was super rich. Maybe like if you took a bite while you're eating your like something else to, I don't know. It was too much for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm fucking never, because you got to try it at least once, right? And if you're at the fair, you've got to check it out. Not a fan. I understand why people like it though. I'm just not big on Twinkies anyway.
Yeah.
So I think I skipped one, and this is the one I skipped for me. Creflo, $50, $5. I love that name, by the way. $5. Final Fantasy VII is very left-wing coded. That's why I really like the story. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Barrett is an amazing character. Yeah, he's my favorite. They're trying to save the planet. Love it. Okay, where am I at? Okay, so this is the latest one.
First of all, Anti-Corporatist became a member. Thank you, Anti-Corporatist. You might have missed that, but no big deal.
Oh, let me go back. Here we go.
Yep, thank you, Anti-Corporatist. And then let's go to
okay,
Balthazar with a $10 super chat. Thank you. I'm amazed no men's personal grooming companies have offered sponsorships for Matt's beard care. Yeah, I'm amazed too. I would accept it. Please. Men's grooming companies, please please come and just beard though. I won't accept any other hair care products.
This one
my hair is perfect as is. Balthazar with another super chat. Humpback Mountain.
This one is for me. Azroth, $2. Thank you. Those whales got some blue balls.
Kowalski with the super chat. We need AI Angel Bo Biden commercials, right? Are you guys? Has this happened on this show? I don't recall. Is this the thing that was just on Majority Report? Someone IM'd their message into the show saying someone needs to dress up like like Beau Biden as an angel and be catapulted over to the White House and like speak to Biden about don't let Israel do this, and that'll be what convinces Joe Biden to change course. Yeah. And then someone today on Majority Report took it to the next step and said someone needs to do like AI angel Beau Biden and send them to Joe Biden. I mean, listen, it's to the point where I'm open to any and all suggestions about how to convince Joe Biden.
Diversity of tactics.
Yeah,
anything,
I am open to anything
to stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything to make it stop. Literally.
Narrator with a membership super chat, member for 7 months. Thank you, narrator. General strike 2028, and this needs to be accompanied by a national conversation, including electorally up and down the ballot. Consider running 2028. Yeah, maybe. I'll see. What's that? 4 years away? I'll be in my 40s.
Oh,
you'll be seasoned by then.
My goodness, I will be too. That's scary, but a blessing, blessing to
a blessing
to be old.
As long as I continue to look like I'm in my 20s, I'm completely fine with whatever age I am. Yeah.
With $4.99, you should have Moji Alawode L on the Mafia. She was on Bituation Room with Lance. Seemed great. Oh yeah,
awesome.
that'd be awesome actually.
She's a big abortion rights advocate and was wearing an abortion necklace made out of the Barbie symbol. And I was like, oh, wow, that's awesome.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, she had great advocacy, obviously, and knew a lot, obviously, about, the battle post Roe v. Wade in the U.S. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
I'll talk to Francesca about that.
Let's see. We got Vincent Moore, the super chat. Gentlemen in the segments, but freaks in the chat.
Hell yeah.
We know how to read the room, if we're talking about something serious,
Yeah. We're multifaceted. Yeah.
Exactly. Prairie Fire, Kowalski, $2. Thank you. On Snapchat map, you can see people's stories on Gaza. Yeah, I actually saw that, and I also saw somebody was pulling up a lot of like Instagram stories also. Just to kind of compare contrast like the Tel Aviv locations of people kind of just like enjoying their life, hanging out, and what's happening not that far away. Yeah, the juxtaposition really it's stunning.
It's for you.
So this one's for me actually. Okay, Creflo $50, $10. Thank you. Bad news. The 90s X-Men cartoon, best intro song ever, has gone woke. Oh no. The character Morph is now non-binary, and the Quarter Pounder is in his basement crying. I think we talked about this last week, didn't we? Where there was a character that can change sexes.
Well, there's awesome. No Morph. The funny thing is Morph was a character pretty much made for the series because they wanted to kill off an X-Men.
He dies in the pilot, then he comes back, I think, in season 5.
He comes back later, yeah. But they wanted to kill off a character to, hide it in the, the stakes. And they decided they didn't want to kill off any established character, so they created one. I mean, he's a character who can literally transform into anybody. Who's to say he wasn't non-binary to begin with? I mean,
I feel like that would be the default of somebody that can that has that ability.
Right. He could have been just presenting as a male the entire time because he was morphed as a male. Like that was his transformed status. And in this one, we're seeing him as he is default.
I think it's going to be them.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, well, but I was going to say that like that corner that they painted themselves into. I'm talking about like the transphobes. They're basically affirming that your penis does not make you the man. Like that's not the only, because Morph can literally change all of his body parts. He can grow breasts, female breasts that can lactate, and he can grow a penis. Like he just changes. He's a literal shapeshifter. So if they say that he's a he, like it's like he is he. No matter what, don't take him away from us. Don't make him non-binary. I hate wokeness. But it's okay. So to you, it doesn't matter if he's a man, a woman. It's a he to you. Like It's checkmate. That's all I gotta say.
They keep checkmating themselves, don't they?
Yeah.
Also, who fucking cares? It's a cartoon. I mean,
yeah, I know, it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. Oh my god, Froke's ass is not incredible, and I was like, it's a cartoon. This is for fucking kids. What's wrong with you?
but it's not even. You know, it's not even for kids though. Like the X-Men animated series was pretty like legit. Like it wasn't like it's not like it's not like an adult.
I watched it as a teenager. I loved it as a teenager.
Like
I was obsessed with it as a teenager.
I watched it as like in my probably like 10 or 11 or something like that. Maybe a little bit earlier, but like it's not.
I was probably about that same age when I watched it. I don't remember much of it though.
But it's not oriented for kids like fucking like Rugrats or Doug or something. It has adult themes,
right?
But it's not for adults only.
Right.
Like it's like vague enough it could be for kids.
Did they put the older seasons on Disney Plus too?
I would think, right?
Because that would be cool to like. Because I don't remember anything about the series. I used to like it as a kid, but I just don't remember the plot or anything. It'd be cool to rewatch that.
Yeah. I have to sign off. I just realized it's almost 9 here, so I got to take Chico out. He's probably waiting for me.
Take care.
I love you both. I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, happy Leap Day.
Happy Leap Day.
All right, Leap Day. We didn't mention that at all, did we?
I know. We didn't do.
We only. Oh, he just left. We only get to do this once every 4 years.
Yeah, it's my daughter's birthday. That's how I remembered.
It's your dog's birthday?
My daughter. Yeah, my daughter. Yeah, it's her birthday.
Oh, I thought you said daughter, but I was like, I must have misheard. You must have said
my dogder.
Dogder. Oh.
Yeah.
Really? They were born on Leap Day?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. How do dog years work on Leap Day?
See, that's something that we're still figuring out. Is she 1 or is she 4?
Right. All right.
We're almost there.
That's not for me.
No, is this for me? I think this might be for David Dole. Let's read it.
Let's read it. Mike Thompson, Waffle House is horrible, but in a good way.
Oh, and this one, let me see. I keep losing my place because it keeps jumping as I scroll back up to the top. But this one's for me. It was for Lance, but he just bounced. Creflo $50 with $5. We do not say Joyzy. Shame on you, Lance. We might say coffee and water, or water, but nobody says Joyzy. I think that's probably true. I don't think I've heard Joyzy. I have heard coffee. Okay, next one. Oh, this one is from me. Okay, so Jake has $5. Thank you. Recently started playing Cyberpunk 2077 per LM recommendation. Now I can stop designing dicks. Now I can't stop designing dicks. See, yeah, that's an interesting part of the character creator. Same in Baldur's Gate also. Creflo $50 with another super chat. Thank you so much. You've been so generous. $5. Hate will definitely age you. Rabbi Shmuley is only 26.
Oh my God.
There is something to the hate aging you though, for sure.
Right.
I really believe that.
No, I think it definitely does.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see.
I mean, stress of any type will age you, and like, what's more stressful than constantly feeling hatred and projecting that?
Right. That's a great point. Okay, we've got a couple in a row for you now.
Lumpin' Lodge with a super chat. Lance, I messaged you on the website. LOL. Y'all booted me. Well, you just missed Lance. I'm sorry. Corey Easterday with a $50 super chat. Corey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I had a county judge remove my First Amendment rights. He ordered, you can't talk about religion. It's unprecedented. Been trying to get on any show to discuss. Cough, Matt, cough. What? Corey, have you reached out to me? I'm really, first of all, my Twitter DMs is a mess at this point. I receive so much garbage mixed in with actual people trying to contact me that I cannot, and there's no way to really organize them. And so it's very stressful. It's very hard to figure out. And then email, I'm just extremely behind So reach out to me again. Send me all the details, information, any news stories. This is tell me about what's going on. I need to know what's happening. Is it covered anywhere? Is there any legal case work up online somewhere I could read?
Yeah, interesting.
What's going on? Why is this happening?
Okay, got another one for you.
Foresto with a super chat. Facebook changed the rules. Now my feed is full of hentai. What? No, they did not change the rules. They definitely did not. They definitely do not allow that stuff.
Yeah. Mr. Rabbit with $10. Thank you so much. Happy Leap Day, guys. There you go. Mr. Rabbit mentioned it. If we didn't, if you haven't, give Apple TV Plus's Severance show a shot. It's one of the best work thriller shows I've seen, and thankfully it's getting a second season. Also, a Free Palestine. Yeah, here. I love Severance. That is an amazing show. I agree with you. I watched it in 2022, basically binged it, and I have been dying for the second season to come out. Have you seen it, Matt?
No, I have not seen that yet.
Highly recommend. It's basically a dystopian workplace thriller. Lots of mystery. Really creative, really good.
I love mysteries and thrillers. So my favorite
my
favorite genre of that and horror. My favorite genre of movie.
Oh yeah, you're gonna like this then. Lots of little Easter eggs too, of like not necessarily Easter eggs, but like clues, just kind of like about the environment. Like not to spoil it, but like, when they're typing on the computer, there's no escape button. And if you notice that, it's like, oh wait, they can't really. I don't want to get too much into it, but like it's very, very good. They are able to bifurcate.
Is it still on, or is it been completed?
Yeah.
Is it finished?
No.
It's still on?
There's only one season, and so it's still going. It has the guy from Parks and Rec, Leslie Knope's husband. I don't know the actor's name.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Yeah. Very good though. Very just. You got to check it out. It's amazing. Very dystopian, but good. It's what capitalism would do if they had the technology to do that. Okay, Balthazar 228 with $20. Thank you so much. That's so kind. You sent so many super chats. I really appreciate that. Chrono Trigger is definitely worth playing. It's usually less than $15. Is only 15 hours long, but has 13 different endings. Wow. It's also the first major game with New Game Plus, letting you replay and keep all your progress. I've heard a lot of good things about Chrono Trigger, and the fact that it's only 15 hours long does make it enticing. So at some point, I do want to check it out. Just my backlog is already pretty big, but yeah, that if I could see it on like Steam and it's like half off or something, I might have to check it out. Ignar Husky with $5. Oaks was a civil rights folk artist during the 60s. Unfortunately, unalived himself due to MLK dying and factionalized of the left at the time. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing about that. That's good to know. We also have this one here. The Lumpen Lodge with $2. Thank you so much. Tulsi Gabbard will be Trump's VP. I am calling it. I saw that she's hosting a fundraiser for him, and she was also one of the people that was like on the Fox News poll during his town hall. And he's like, oh, yeah, yep. He kind of confirmed all of them. By the way, so this was like a little prophecy that I had. If you watch my War on Christmas 2022 video, maybe 2021 video, I pretend like I am Mike from the future. And I talk about what happened after Trump Gabbard won the White House. I have like a fake CNN banner. So I'm hoping that does not actually come to fruition. I wouldn't speak that into the universe, but yeah.
It's not for me.
Not for me. I think it might be for either... Oh, no, it's probably for David. Let me read that, though. Lizzie Bennett with $5. Thank you so much. Final Fantasy VII was a gamer's gateway to progressivism. Think about it. Your party is Avalanche, an eco-terrorist group fighting a mega corporation. Yeah, that makes sense. I could see that. And I could see why, so it resonated with so many people, especially at the time. Like I went back and I watched like a lot of footage from the old game, And for coming out in the 90s, it looks pretty good. I have FOMO. I wish I was in on the hype, but I'm certainly catching up on it now. Okay, we got 2 left. One for you, one for me. This one's yours.
Here we go. Tokyo Hans just celebrated my 40th on Wednesday. Please enjoy a part of my birthday money. Happy birthday, Tokyo Hans. 40 is a big one. 40 is a big one. You're entering like the last decade of your life that's worth living. No, I'm joking. 50s is not so bad anymore either. I think
that's true. Still too young to be president. You've got 30 more years to go, bud.
Right. Okay.
Before you can actually win, you've got to be in your 70s nowadays to be considered.
Right. No, 40 is a great number. Congratulations on the birthday. Not congratulations, I guess. Congratulations. That seems weird.
That works.
But happy birthday. Happy birthday. Here's to 40 more, at least.
Yeah. Balthazar 228, $5. Thank you, Balthazar. Rip my bad Canadian food pun. What books are on your bookshelf in the background, Mike? Any chance you'd post a pic in Focus on Twitter? Yeah, of course. I can go through them really quick. There is the Harvey J.K., FDR and Democracy. There's the Understanding Marx by Richard Wolff. I always recommend this to people who are interested in learning about Marx but don't want to read the book that's like this thick. It's a good starter. And then there's a second book that I recommend it was given to me in college or recommended to me in college. And that one's like the next one. So you don't have to read the full book. We've got Commandant by Rory Carroll. It's about Hugo Chavez. Love this book. Very interesting. Okay, I'm not going to take them out. But we have a couple of political science books about political parties. This is the Bible for people if you're curious about electoral reform. It's called The Politics of Electoral Systems. I've got Medicare for All, The Deficit Myth, and the Bernie Bros. So I'll post the picture, though.
Whole library right there.
That's all my books. No. Oh, and also, of course, we got Michael Brooks.
All right. Against the Web.
Yes, very good book. Well, is there anything left on Twitch?
I got some Twitch, just a few. Yep.
Okay.
Valanova gave out 10 community gift subs and cheered 100 bits. Did you see 100 bits? Did you see Sam talk to AI Dave Rubin? He really seemed to love it.
I saw that.
Was it good?
It was really good, yeah.
I'll have to watch. Yeah, that's what AI is good for, like comedy bits and stuff like that. Absolutely. Fun little internet meme stuff. Tokyo Hans resubscribed for 1 month at Tier 1. Subscriber for 20 months. Oops, forgot to resub, said Tokyo Hans. Thanks a lot, Tokyo. Appreciate the support all the time, everywhere. Valanova cheered 500 bits. New Ammon Hawk 3D video up. Did you guys see it? No, I haven't.
I'll have to check it out. I watch all of his videos, so I will watch that for sure.
He's the one who does the animations, right? Like the 3D animations?
Yeah, he did the big Sam Cedar, Steven Crowder one. That was really good with H3.
I'll have to check that out.
They're always very good. Well, do you want to... So I saw Actual Jake earlier in the chat. I didn't want to highlight it when we were talking about serious stuff, but do you want to rate him on Twitch? He's streaming right now.
Who? I'm sorry?
Actual Jake.
Let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. Don't hit it yet, because I'm not gonna be anywhere near you. Hold on.
Oh, we've got 2 more super chats.
Oh, we got super chats again?
Let's see.
Not
real
me.
Quick.
All you.
So we have Annie Fitzgerald with $5. Thank you, Annie. I emailed you, Mike. I was hoping to talk to you about my Washington 38 House campaign. I'd be first disabled elected official if I win. Well, I'll check your email. I haven't been doing any candidate interviews this cycle because it takes a lot of time for me to do interviews. They take forever to export and whatnot. So I'm not necessarily sure that I'm down to do interviews again, just because I think that it's too much effort.
Just do it live. Just do a live stream. You don't got to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
It's live. Just do it.
Yeah. And also part of the thing that I don't like about interviews is it kind of got people to think that you can run a successful campaign. Not saying this about you, Annie. while not really getting to know your district, you've just got to get on a couple of podcasts. And I think that getting back to the grassroots probably is the most important thing. So, but yeah, I'll help to boost your campaign if I can, at least on Twitter, Annie. And then we've got a gifted sub for Morbius Dragon. Thank you so much. Okay, are you all ready to raid, Jake?
I'm gonna press start raid right now. Are you going to?
Yep.
I hit start raid. Let that fill up. All right, everybody. It was an absolute pleasure. I wanted to thank everyone too for all the super chats. It was, December, January, and February have been very slow. Oh, look, it just hit midnight here. It's March 1st, and this was like a big super chat day, and so it's a big help, honestly.
Yeah, this was a really big day, actually.
Yeah, it was back to how it was when we first started, when we were getting tons of super chats.
One last super chat came in really quick from Creflo $50. Sorry for the last minute question, but where has AOC been? I haven't heard much from her about the Israeli occupation. She has made a couple of tweets that are good about this. I would like her to be better on the issue, but thankfully we do have folks like Rashida Tlaib who really speak out constantly, which is really valuable. But that's all we have, folks. I'm going to hit raid. Are you ready?
I'm going to hit raid too. Ready? Here we
1,
go.
2,
Peace,
3.
everyone. Have a great week.
We'll see you next week, folks.